I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Thursday, February the 8th. Good morning. I am, through no fault of my own, a guy who's got a lot of moles on my body. Freckles, big moles.
Wow, out of the gate.
Yeah, just coming strong. Got a couple big ones on my face, although I had a big one on my cheek that's faded over the years. It's almost gone, but like in high school, every photo of me, it looked like I had a tick on my face. And you'd see photos, and I look in the mirror and I wouldn't notice it, and I'd see a picture and be like, "Whoa, that's weird." That's a strange thing with me. But yeah, you see me at the pool in the summer, and you're like, "That guy's got some moles." They've been charted. I know what they look like, and yet every now and again I will find myself, get out of the shower, and I'm like, what is that? Oh, that's been there. Okay. I get a little tweaked out.
Hello, old friend.
Yeah, we mentioned this yesterday. Just on an off tangent, we talked about ticks yesterday. And then since yesterday's show, apparently we've all gone tick mad. A deer tick has been discovered in Rosemount.
Already?
It's February 8th, and there's ticks, ladies and gents. They're out. The deer ticks have been active throughout the metro, says the guy from the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District. Thank you I guess we should thank El Nino for a little bit, early run on the diligence. Let's start paying attention to ticks. I've never been anywhere where February was already tick season. This is really shocking to me.
I mean, can you get them in the grocery store? Probably not. So you got to be out there in the great outdoors. And there's no one in the cities going to the great outdoors. This is northern Minnesota news. Although I see you can get 10 tick mitts right now for $180 if you buy them in bulk.
All I know is Rosemount south of where I'm sitting right now. So, I'm a little wound up. Look, I don't want Lyme disease, man. I don't want to have to go through the thing of do I flick it? Do I get the tweezers? Do I hold a match to it? The tick thing just winds me up.
Yeah, they're creepy.
Yeah, they're creepy, and I had tick altercations as a child. It's still the scars, the emotional scars, not on the skin. But they're out, man. They're everywhere. I not really. I'm just trying to freak people out. I mean, this is reefer madness right here.
Typical media person.
Yeah. That's it. But really,
it's just skeeter season.
It's just another example of how this winter just screws things up. You know what I mean? I'm still walking around going, maybe we'll get that blowback in March. I could use a little snow. I feel cheated this winter. And so this is just another reminder that things aren't always what you want them to be. That's okay. That's all right.
We got a buddy, Tim and Eric, that texted me a picture yesterday. They were out putting down canvases, and tarps over the little bit of snow they have on Theodore Wirth for the big Lopet World Cup coming up.
Oh, yeah, I'm going, man. I got an in.
Bring snow with you. Fill your pockets with snow. Scrape it out of your freezer. It's thick with ice in there. Scrape it out. Fill your pockets with snow and take it out to the Lopet and just dump it on the track for them.
It's going to be so cool. My friend Julie is volunteering because she does cross-country skiing, and she said that this is the first time it's in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And we have the best female cross-country skier in the world right now.
Sweet.
Hometown gal, Jessie Diggins,
Awesome.
Yeah. So wait, hold on. Where and when? When is this happening?
Ooh, Candace.
Not this weekend, but
the following weekend.
Yeah,
third weekend in Feb.
Yeah, we mentioned this a few months ago. Yeah, Wow, what a strange thing. Remember the Sochi Winter Olympics? They would show those scenes. They'd show like the ski jump, and then the camera would pan back, and then you would just see dirt and grass and trees. Like they had no snow anywhere there where they didn't absolutely need snow to be. And then people were like, it's a summer resort town. What the hell are you having the Winter Olympics up there for? Yeah, it's kind of what I feel like's happening here.
Sold us on that.
Hey, it is winter, and this Sunday is the big football game. Check this out quickly. Speaking of local news, a dude from Otsego. So am I saying that right? Otsego?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah, I didn't even,
felt pretty good about it. But
on that one.
Every now and again, I throw one out, and someone's like, no, it's Otsego or whatever. So I wanted to make sure. A guy from Otsego is heading to the Super Bowl because he won tickets by donating blood. The Red Cross had a promotion. Everybody who donated blood would be entered into a drawing, and a dude named David Suggs got a call. He says, you got hotel, you got airfare, you got a gift card, you got 2 tickets to the game.
Nice.
All for donating a pint of blood. Good job, man.
Wow.
Attaboy all the way around to him.
My brother Bob has donated. My brother Bob donates blood like since the 70s. He's crazy about it. He'll tell you the number of pints, quarts in gallons. I mean, literally, it's an but he's never won a damn thing for it, other than my respect, I guess.
Right, just obsessive about donating blood.
Just important. Well, he was aware of the. I guess he had some friends at the Red Cross who laid it all out for him how important it is to do.
Yeah.
And every year he'll post an update, and it's just like family shtick, like, hey, I'm up to 19 gallons or whatever the number is. And I always think that's amazing. And I go, this is the year I'm going to start, and this might be the year I start. It hadn't happened yet, but hey, hope springs eternal. What can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's right in front of me, like every once in a while I'll go somewhere and there'll be the Blood Cross van, sitting out there in the parking lot, and I'll drop a pint.
The Blood Cross, you said. I like that's a good name for a band. The Blood Cross with the Red Cross symbol.
The Red Cross band, they call it the Blood Cross. It's got the Blood Cross
do.
sign on it.
I got you.
Blood Cross.
Yeah,
it's the
I've tried
donation
to do that,
van. Yeah,
they always reject me.
Why?
Right. Her blood is actually white.
No, I'm never in the proper condition to give the blood.
This is. I'm sorry, Candace.
Really?
You have liquid paper in your veins.
I don't know what to
clear.
do. My blood pressure is always too low or something
Your
weird.
attitude isn't right.
Yeah, maybe just
You
eat a
gotta want to
banana.
give, Candace.
Get a banana before you go in there. Speaking of the big game, we don't have tickets to the big game, but we do have some great prop bets to share with you in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I love the prop bets coming. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Thursday, February the 8th. The Super Bowl on Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. We can talk all day about who we think is going to win. That's a whole bunch of nonsense. But the prop bets, oh no, nothing nonsensical about these. These are the kind of wagers we can all spend a whole lot of time putting our thinking caps on and getting to them. I'd like to just share a few of these and get y'all's thoughts on them. These are all things you can make bets on. First things first, Reba McEntire will be singing the Star-Spangled Banner. Ooh. Will she forget a word?
No.
Will she botch the anthem?
No way.
Yeah.
No chance, Reba. You don't think?
She'll be
Country
lip-syncing.
singers never mess up the
How do you screw
anthem.
up? How do you screw up lip syncing?
Well, I was going to say this. We all remember Whitney during the Gulf War, Super Bowl '91, came out and did it to tape, and everybody was all freaking out about it. The odds, however, if you think Reba might forget a word, you got plus 900 odds. You put $100 on that, you're going to win 900 if she botches it. The no bet is a minus 3,000. That's how strongly Vegas believes she's going to get it right.
Yeah, whatever that means.
That means bet $3,000 and you win 100.
Oh,
I believe is what that means.
Why would you do that?
Well, because I don't know. You just want $3,100 instead of $3,000.
The thrill.
So I guess we all feel good about Reba. I saw her. I was getting breakfast in L.A. once, many years ago, and I heard that voice at a table behind. What's in these flapjacks or whatever the hell she was asking. She was actually asking about the menu, but it was more like, how do you say that? Chilaquiles? And that's a terrible Reba. But I was like, is that? What's her name? That redheaded? And I turned around, and sure enough, she was right there. And I was like, yeah, that's her.
All right.
Never quite got the appeal. I don't get Reba McEntire. She's huge though. She's like,
I love Reba.
Oh, is she
everybody
getting a lot of
does.
weight?
What's that?
Oh. Well, you mean she's... Oh, I see what you mean. I don't know much about her. She's a country gal, redhead,
Sassy.
100 years old. Sassy.
Had a TV show.
Had a TV show.
Oh, did she?
Memory serves. It was called Reba.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Super Bowl MVP. After the game, somebody will be named MVP. You can bet who will they first mention in their speech. Like who? Okay, here's the list. Who will they first say, I want to give thanks to? Teammates? Minus 145. Wow. Think that's pretty good. God is a plus 135. Mm-hmm. The city where their team from, family or family members, coach, owner. If they mention the owner first, that's plus 3,500. That's a good winning bet right there. And by the way, if you're the owner and you're a billionaire and all you do is sit around thinking about how you can make more money, you could say to your team, I'll give whoever mentions me first a big money, and then you go lay money on the bet yourself. These things could all be skewered.
That's a great idea.
Can you imagine? I'd love to see Mahomes get up there and go, I just want to tell a story about my dog, Fluffy. Like watch
Lucky.
Vegas people tearing their tickets up. No, I think whoever it is, the first thing they're going to say is team. This team, these guys in this locker room, I'd go teammates is a strong bet.
I'd go with the Lord.
You think the Lord?
Yeah.
What is that laugh? What is that evil maniacal laugh?
That's my evil laugh.
Why? The thought of a football player thanking God gives you the evil laugh?
Yeah, I'm awful.
Okay, how about this? Will anyone score in the first minute of the game? If you bet yes, you got plus 900. It's pretty
Wow.
good. Yeah. I mean, $100 will get you 900. Come on, that'd be pretty rare, though. No is pretty strong. Here's the one that people are really that really it's the simplest answer to any, but for some reason it's a controversy. Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift? Yes, plus 1020. Wow. No, minus 3,500, which means Vegas knows it's not going to happen. And it was never even a possibility, and I'll tell you why. Because Travis Kelce is a football player, and he's a dude, and he's a member of a team, and he's actually very seriously a great teammate, and he would never make the whole thing about him and Taylor Swift, like in such a way. That's the silliest bet. People have literally been saying, I've seen think pieces about why it should happen, and I'm like, tell me more about how you know nothing about football. Mm-hmm. It's not a chance.
It's a good point.
A kid from Boise State in a bowl game? Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and say yep.
Never going to happen.
Just to be
never going to happen.
Sometimes, maybe I'll get lucky.
Maybe you could get lucky. Let's see, what else have we got? How about this? The coin toss winner, even odds. It's 50-50, so there's no guarantee there. Super Bowl 58 measurements. How many times will the refs bring out the chains to measure for a first down? Over 1.5 or under 1.5? So basically you're saying it's going to happen 2 or more or less than 2.
Yeah. Wow.
Under 1.5 is plus 150. Man, the idea, and of course, no one's betting on the fact that this is further proof that it's the dumbest thing in sports is they still bring out chains to measure for a first down.
Yeah,
wow. You can a serve at Wimbledon going 140 miles an hour. You get an instant reading on whether it hit the line with one fur of the tennis ball, but we still need chains to measure a first down.
Tradition,
or a spot.
man.
Completely insane. Will a Super Bowl 58 player record an octopus in the game? Because someone did it last year. Do you know what an octopus is?
No.
It's when
got 8 legs. It's when live in the ocean.
A football octopus is. This is not like a hockey thing where like someone from Detroit's going to throw an octopus at you. No, it's if you score a touchdown and then follow up and score the 2-point conversion and score all 8 points yourself. Jalen Hurts did that last year. Ran in for a touchdown and then ran in the 2-point conversion. The very rare octopus. That ain't going to happen again. Odds against that are pretty strong, 2,500.
Christian McCaffrey has done it 5 times this season.
He certainly could, but I think the general thinking is it's usually a quarterback. Neither one of those guys does it quite the way Hurts is, but you're right. McCaffrey's a pretty good bet for that. How about this? Stadium sales. Let's see. How many beers will be sold in the stadium during the game? Now,
11.
There's 70,000 tickets there, 70,000 seats. The over-under line is 120,000. It seems low initially.
It seems low.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's the Super Bowl, and most of those tickets are not diehard fans. It's a lot of people who know somebody. A lot of the people that are in the corporate suites aren't paying for beers. Right. You know what I mean? Like the big spenders.
These are all millionaires that go to this football game. Millionaires and billionaires. They can't get another private jet. They're having a private jet crisis in Las Vegas, of all places, where you can land the most private jets in the United States. So they're not drinking beer, martinis, maybe, old fashions.
See, there you go. That's exactly right. So the 120,000 initially, I think. Now, if this is a Packers regular season game, please, you're going to squash that in the first quarter. Yeah. But for the Super Bowl, pretty interesting bet right there. I think these things are all pretty great. What about the Drake curse? Which team apparel will Drake be wearing on Super Bowl Sunday?
I'm going to kill myself.
Chiefs plus 170.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is a good one. America the Beautiful. They do show that. They do play that song before the game. Which player will be shown first, Kelce or McCaffrey? There's your bets. They're going to show one of the two guys.
Kelce.
It's pretty great. How many times? All right, here it is. Finally, the final one, the most important one. How many times during the broadcast of the game itself, from kickoff to final whistle, how many times will Taylor Swift be shown? Over or under 4.5.
Over.
If the Chiefs are in business, it'll be over. If the Chiefs lay an egg, it'll be under. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how you want to look at it. If you think the Chiefs are going to win the game, I'd say over. I think you're right, Candace. Over
we will see,
4.5. What's that?
We will see. Should we put our own money or items on this? Like, let's see. What can I have of yours?
All right, I've got
What means
my
the most
lucky
to
rabbit's
you?
foot.
I was going to say how you can.
I actually put one prop bet yesterday. I have $140 left in the kitty. I like to zero it out, so I laid one prop bet yesterday for a scoregami. That would be a score never achieved in the Super Bowl. $140, boom, on the barrelhead, 4-2. I'm taking San Francisco.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd be so happy. What kind of odds did you get on that? Huge.
I don't know how to read the odds, but it's a plus. It's a plus 1,200. What's that mean?
Well, that means if you put 100 down, you'd get 1,200. So if you put 140 down, you'll get even more. You get close to 1,300. I guess.
I feel like this is a done deal. Let me know Monday morning.
Okay,
I'll check my app.
We'll check in with you. That'll be great.
All right. We're going to be checking in with Mike Evans. The Hollywood Report is coming. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talkin' text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is February the 8th. It is time for our daily venture into the abyss. The Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Steve, and good morning, Tony, Zepp, Candace. You look lovely. And this report brought to you by our good friends over at Marcus Theaters. Don't forget, Marcus Theaters, their seats, their leisure lounges are so comfortable you could fall asleep. And every Tuesday, every movie at all Marcus Theaters are only $6. Marcus Theater is the best. All right, so yesterday I left you hanging, telling you about a long-time 49er fan who has attended a lot of 49er games.
Yeah.
I said she was a woman.
Yeah.
Who planned to go to the big game on Sunday but may be denied because of security.
Uh-huh.
I didn't tell you her name. Were you able to figure it out?
No.
Her name? Kamala Harris. 49ers celebrity fans include Dana Carvey, Julia Roberts, Danny Glover. And despite being part owner of the AFC Denver Bronco team, Condoleezza Rice is a big Brock Purdy fan. However, it seems that Kansas City has more celebrity fans that say they plan on going to the game than San Francisco fans. They include St. Louis residents, John Hamm, from The Office television show, Jenna Fisher. And even from Springfield, Missouri, Brad Pitt. All Kansas City Chief fans and expected to go. And although he only lived in Kansas City a short period of time, don't be surprised if, I did. I reckon I could go to the game. Billy Bob Thornton also will be at the game. And there is talk of over 1,000 plainclothes security walking around the game, Homeland Security, CIA, FBI, all at the game, watching for trouble. Ugh. And here's a trivia bet that you can win Sunday at your party. Here you go. What single Super Bowl game had the most future Hall of Famers play in it? The answer would be Super Bowl 13. That matched up the Dallas Cowboys versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. There were 17 players that played in that game that were eventually voted into the National Football League Hall of Fame. Some predictions and surprises tomorrow. Have a great day in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Talk to you then. Mike Evans, I see ya.
There you have it. Yeah. Root canal's not so bad. Hey, so first of all, one comment. Of course there's going to be 1,000 plainclothes people. It's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest sporting event of the year. I hope there's 1,000 people looking for trouble walking around that stadium in plain clothes. My God. What are you telling me? These are crazy times, man. Crazy times. Got to make sure no one goes streaking across that field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I wish somebody would. Bring it back.
Bring it back, and for the love of God, show it, would you? Mm-hmm. Networks. Come on. The world, as much everyone loves seeing Luke Combs and Tracy Chapman. It was a throwback moment. Suddenly there was a feeling of, hey, we're not all so far apart, are we? Top it off with some streaking.
Yes.
Just bring it back to the way it was, for God's sakes. Speaking of the way it was, let's look back. Anthony?
Yep, she's on her way. Sorry, this has been happening more and more.
Did you finish your assignment?
Yeah, he's in Asia right now. There's that delay.
My dog chewed it up. Sorry.
Well, I appreciate a guy who knows his history. Well, you've come to the right place.
Steve, what's happening?
On this day in 1986, a great Atlanta Hawk won the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Oh, no, not Dominique Wilkins. He came in second place. He was beaten by his teammate, Spud Webb. Famously won the Slam Dunk Contest. Spud Webb was 5 feet 7 inches tall. 42-inch vertical leap. He had a 360-degree dunk at one point, alley-ooping to himself off the backboard, off the floor. By the way, Spud Webb, not only could he not palm a basketball, he couldn't come close to palming a basketball.
That's right.
And the craziest part about it is, listed at 5'7", 5'4.5" in bare feet. Think about that. Think about that next time you're reaching for the beans on the top shelf. The man was literally under 5'5" in bare feet.
Flying.
And he wanted to be listed at 5'7". He was like, "No, you can't put my real height on there." Shortest player in NBA history for a while, and then Muggsy Bogues, a legit 5'3", entered the league right after that and played for years and years and years.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zepp, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Thus far on today's show, we have discussed some Super Bowl prop bets. We've had a little history lesson. We are sliding into impulse purchases. You know what? And it doesn't have to be something you regret. Sometimes impulse purchases pay off. Sometimes you have an impulse buy and you look back and go, it's the best damn decision I ever made. I don't have any of those. But, you know, I hear it's possible. So, Zepp, did you by any chance, we just had a little commercial break. Did you buy any skis during this last commercial break?
No, I did not. And that's probably the last pair of skis I'll ever buy. I remember getting. Yeah, it's true.
Not a chance.
But I do. I'm very. I do give skis to all my friends. I'll be like, I've had these old, outdated skis for 34 years. I'm like, I got a pair of skis for you. So I try to be generous with my impulse buys. But this ski. These new pair of skis I just bought this morning, keyhole technology. I'll tell you all about it at the break. You guys will love it. I know, right? It's the latest.
What in the...
And great. I got fired from a race. Yeah.
What color are they? That's all anyone cares about.
Right.
They're kind of a metallic blue, man. Pretty badass.
Okay.
Silver at the tip, and then it goes blue and back to set. It's pretty badass. Designed by Boney Miller. I won't go on, but I did get fired once from a radio job, and on the way home, stopped to look at motorcycles and bought a motorcycle once.
That makes total sense. It made you feel better. You know?
It did make me feel better, and it was one of those. Hey, honey, I got fired, but I also bought a motorcycle.
I got dumped in college and bought a mail order bride, so I totally get that. I completely understand what that's all about. Zepp answering the question: who pays attention to pop-up ads? Apparently, Brian Zepp does.
Oh, they get me.
They get you. They get you every time. If you want to share a story with us about an impulse buy, whether it worked out or not, of course, it's way funnier if you regret it. You can do that throughout the rest of the day. Talk and text line, the KQ92 talk and text line, 651-989-ROCK. We have a caller who's got a story for us. Candace, who we got?
Rhonda from Waverly.
Rhonda, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're great, Rhonda. You sound like you're a ball of fire this morning.
Yeah, I am on my way to work and listening in.
Well, what did you call in to share with us?
Well, when back in the 90s, I was living in New Jersey by myself. I had a house, and my folks and my sister Rhoda and her family and my aunt and uncle were coming to visit, and I hadn't really prepped from a cleaning the house perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the day before they arrived. I'm running around, all of a sudden, knock on the door, two little carpetbaggers from New Jersey with the Kirby vacuum cleaner.
Sure.
And I purchased it on the spot for $1,600.
Whoa.
And it was absolute. I went into work the next day, and my guys were like, "What are you, out of your effing mind?" You know? But I had it for a long time. It works very well, but it's very heavy. And then probably 10 years later, I sold it on a garage sale for $200.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious. That's a hell of a pitch. So you're just sitting there minding your own business, and they come to your door. You had no choice. They cornered you.
Right. Door-to-door salespeople. vehicle back in the day. I mean, it was pretty, it was all right.
Yeah.
Purpose, the house was great.
That's fantastic.
Must have been a good pitch.
Did you write a check on the spot?
Yeah, I did. I made more money back then. But yeah.
That's great. That's a perfect story. I'm glad. And then all those years later, you still got a little something from it at the yard sale or the garage sale.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
Well, Rhonda, thank you for listening and thanks for the call.
You bet. You too.
Wow. Wow.
How about Tim on the KQ Facebook page? A plethora of bongs. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I can see how that might happen. Yeah.
It's the slowest impulse purchase possible, but it's still an impulse purchase. I think I'm going to buy those. And then eventually you get it right. You enter the number in right, and then suddenly you get bongs. A couple of impulse purchases in my life. One was a trip. Rosemary and I, this is years ago, pre-kid, extra cash laying around, and my band's manager, Pete, had just gotten back from a trip. He went to a Club Med in the Bahamas on a place called Columbus Isle. And it's the actual name for the island. It's one of the, I think it might be the first place Christopher Columbus ever anchored offshore of. Like, that's why it's named Columbus Isle. And it's an all-inclusive resort they had there. And it's specifically if you want to go scuba diving. Like, it's to go there, learn how to scuba. And he was telling me, he goes, I don't know, I like the all-inclusive. You don't have to, you just go in. It's just buffet. You don't have to find a restaurant. You don't have to rent a car. It's just perfect. It's perfect. And so he was just talking it up, and I just suddenly was like, yeah, well, I've scuba dived a couple times. I'd like to go get kind of serious about it. And within the course of like a 10-minute conversation, I just decided we've got to do this. And he said it was like in May, and he goes, well, they run specials all June actually, so this would be a good time to go. That's all I heard. Done. We're going. Yeah, they run specials in June because of something called sea lice, which take over the. It's like these. It's just like tiny little things in the water that will bite you. Yeah. It's just like they're called sea lice. It just looks like kernels of rice, actually. Swarms of like underwater little white rice that swim and bite you.
Swimmer's itch.
And then the water's really choppy that time of year right here. They have sea lice. And then we found out too, by the way, don't like all inclusive. I like getting a Jeep and driving around and trying to find a restaurant and wondering if they cook their food enough. I like not sitting with strangers who want to chat at dinner. Yeah, we went down there for 6 days and left on day 4. It was I
left early.
Like I got to get out of here.
Did you contract sea lice?
I got my legs got ripped up, and then little bit of a sunburn because it's cloudy, but the sun still pokes through, and you don't think it's gonna. So my shoulders are burned, my legs are chewed up from sea lice. The scuba, was too rough to swim to scuba for a couple of the trips were canceled. I did see a hammerhead shark. I did that going for me.
Cool. Super cool.
But basically, yeah, it was the worst. And I mean, by today's standards, it wasn't like the worst amount of money. I mean, the whole thing was, I want to say it was like a couple grand, which for what it was a good deal. But still, I got back on that plane to fly home. I felt like I'd been released from jail, and I was so mad because I was like, I could have gone. I would have gone to Chattanooga and had more fun.
Didn't say much about Chattanooga.
No research involved whatsoever. Just well, someone else had fun a week ago. I guess I'll go now. Candace, do we have someone else on the phone?
Rick from Monticello.
Rick, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing fine, thank you very much. What have you got for us, Rick?
Well, many years ago, my second ex-wife and I went down to Brookdale to buy a pair of tennis shoes for me and came with a car. So kind of an impulse buy.
Ended up buying a car?
Yeah. It was a really cool-looking first year that came out with the Dodge Shadow Turbo ES model. That was a pretty cool-looking car.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that Nike was making cars that year. Okay, so
yeah. The other thing was back then I didn't have a driver's license, so it was just her driving it. But she enjoyed driving that car because it was. Yeah. She didn't. So
did the second ex-wife end up with the car in the divorce?
Oh No. We had gotten a different car by the time we got divorced. So yeah.
Wow.
So hey, Brian, I was out riding motorcycle Tuesday night.
You're not the only one. Got some buddies out cruising around the metro on their motorcycles. It's one of those winters, man. Well, you know what? You make hay with what you've got, Rick. Outstanding. We'll be golfing before you know it, buddy.
All right, sounds great.
Thanks for the call, Rick. I'll call you next time I need some shoes.
Pick up a car instead. I forgot to ask how many ex-wives he's up to now.
I was curious about that too.
Another big one is, and I see here, thank you, Chris, a few questionable tattoos. Oh, yeah. Back when you used to be able to get tattoos when you were drunk, I don't know how many I have, like 5 or 6 or something like that, just a kind of a junkyard of drunken tattoos, because when I received most of mine in Sturgis when I was in the Army, and back then, if they could prop you up in the chair and you didn't puke on them, they'd put a tattoo on you. In fact, I got one in a bar from a bouncer. Worst scorpion you've ever seen in your life. It looks like a bug that someone stepped on. That's a little regrettable.
Looks like
I guess.
sea lice.
It does look like someone stepped on sea lice.
A guy on our crew on a day off in Europe somewhere just hammered, decided it was time to finally get that barbed wire looking thing around his bicep, and on the underside when the guy came around, like it was like the Great Railroad, but the tracks didn't line up.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was way off, way off. And of course the joke was, well, if you work out, you can flex that tricep up and maybe it'll sync up, but you got about 9 million push-ups to make those tracks connect on the other end of that arm. Candace, do we have another caller?
Yeah, Bruce from Andover.
Bruce, good morning.
Good morning, all. How are you guys doing?
We're great, thank you, sir. Have you got an impulse buy you want to share with us?
I do. Back in 2005, my wife asked me to go and pick up a T-shirt from a Harley dealer.
Okay.
In Elk River. And I've been looking at this motorcycle for about 6 months.
Attaboy.
And when she asked me to go, I thought, sure, let's go.
What was she thinking?
About 2 hours later, I'm riding home with a new motorcycle, and she asked where the T-shirt was. I said, it's in the back. I got it with me, too.
Yeah, of course.
Attaboy.
And I kept that motorcycle for 15 years and 105,000 miles.
Attaboy, yeah, so that's a good impulse buy right there.
That was the best impulse buy I ever bought.
She still have the T-shirt?
You guys are breaking up. I'm going to have to let you go.
All right, Bruce. I like it. That's called,
our line.
That's
Wait
called
a minute.
Self-editing right there. That's our kind of caller. Yeah,
right.
Really, that's pretty great if she did. No, I didn't have the shirt. It lasted a week. Or he ran it over with that bike one night. It was out there. It blew off the clothesline. I like the woman saying, I want one of those cute Harley shirts. Yeah. Go down to the dealer and get it for me.
You know what she's saying is what she's really saying to him is, I want to be riding on the back of a Harley Davidson with you in my new Harley Davidson T-shirt. She knew what she was doing. Hey, let's let the good times roll. We'll keep talking about impulse buys this morning. We have a KQ Facebook post that's filling up. Give us a call here on the talk and text line 651-989-ROCK. Oh, yeah, and game show this morning. I just saw that we're playing Alexa Theater. I love that game. The Beach Boys coming to town. What in the... Also, USA versus Canada women's hockey tickets. That's at 8:30 this morning. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Steve Gorman, this is the KQ Morning Show. We are discussing impulse purchases on the morning show today. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line if you want to share a story. The KQRS Facebook page, we've got a post up there. My man Dave wrote, you got to keep me off the Sweetwater app because I have an itchy finger for some drums. There's not a musician alive. I mean, every purchase is an impulse purchase. If you're actually like, if you're a weekend warrior, Yeah, maybe you put some thought into it. But every great player I know is like, no, the last thing I need is another, oh, my God, what's that? I've always wanted one of those. Yeah. It's that series of impulse buy after impulse buy. The song we just heard, my former band, the Black Crowes, performing an Otis Redding song called Hard to Handle. My favorite impulse musical purchase ever was a drum kit I bought in 1991. I walked into a drum store literally to buy, like, I need a tambourine or a I needed one small piece of equipment. And I walked in and the guy goes, hey, I got something you got to see. And I walked out 10 minutes later with a full kit. But it was a kit that he had gotten from Allman Brothers drummer J-Mo. J-Mo first bought that kit. J-Mo first bought that kit when he was drumming for Otis Redding.
Come on.
That's so cool.
In 1966. So, yeah, but I didn't even know that part of the story. So my career was built on the back of an Otis Redding single from 1990, and then I bought a kit from 91 and didn't find out until 2004 that it was actually a kit that Otis Redding himself paid for so his drummer could go on tour with it. How about that for a crazy story? So that was an impulse purchase that I definitely never once regretted. That drum kit is in this building as we speak. I've played, I use it in recording sessions all the time. I don't go into drum stores very often for that very reason. Not that I'm going to buy another kit, but I went into a drum store. I had a gig in December, and I needed a hi-hat clutch, a stick clutch that you attach to your hi-hat stand. You just hold your sticks. It's it's just a tiny little piece of equipment you need. And I walked into a drum store, and I walked out with like 11 items of little tiny things I don't really need, but I think I'm probably going to need that. Yeah, they're all just sitting in a bag. Haven't used a single one of them.
Happens when you go to Target.
If you have a passion for something, it's, you can't, impulse buys come with the territory. By the way, for the listeners, a little behind the scenes, this is kind of fun. Steve does keep that drum kit here, but like in Step Brothers, he's warned us that if any one of us touch it, he will kill us. Yeah. I did find Tony back there with his pants down, and I think he may have step-brothered your drum kit. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Well, I wanted that to happen, so
hence the Ring cameras. I've got some footage to go through, apparently.
Yeah, right. Old kerosene lanterns, Wade says on the KQRS post. I know you see, when I go to antiques, keep me the hell out of an antique store. I need to have a garage sale. Because I go in there, I'm like, I don't need anything here. I don't want anything here. I travel light, man. Ooh, is that an old stereo cabinet?
Yeah.
That I have no room for?
You and my wife, the number of lamps. Why another table lamp? Why? There's going to be a day when this is going to be the perfect lamp. I'm like, for whose home? Yeah. But hey, this is the life we lead. Drum stores and golf pro shops. Get me out of both. There's how many gloves, tees, balls, shirts, vests. I'm ridiculous. 651-989 Rock is the number. Candace, we've got some callers who would love to share some stories with us. Who are we up to?
Packer from St. Paul.
Packer, good morning.
Hey, you doing, crew?
What's happening, brother? What do you got for us?
Well, it was a week ago today that I had an impulse buy. My wife and I got a call, and on Monday they install a pool.
Wow. Did that happen very quickly? Was it someone woke up and, I'd like to go for a dip. It's sunny out. The winter's warm. And you bought yourself a pool.
Yeah, well, we had talked to the guy about 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he was going through his files and said, "Hey, you guys want to do that pool?" And we were like, "Sure, maybe." And then he said, "Well, the trick is we got to put it in on Monday." Oh. And that was the earliest the pool's ever been in. He was trying to break some record or be the first in as a pool company.
I bet.
But we fell for it, so we got a pool now.
It's not the pool that I saw in the news that they're putting in. One of the local news, I forget which outlet it was talking about someone getting. No kidding, 9. You were on the news with your pool. It's an in-ground, big-ass pool.
Yeah. Impulsive, right?
Yeah, hell yeah, it is. But not a lot of February digs going on in Minnesota, generally speaking. So I'm all for it. Packer, solid, and thank you for the 4th of July invite over for the pool. We'll be there.
Well, I got to figure out how my kids are going to eat for the next 9 months.
Optional.
They're industrious.
Somehow.
It's like a friend used to say: if you're smart, you'll eat. It's okay. Don't worry.
You know what you do? You have a lot of pool parties, and you tell everyone to bring their own hot dish or something.
Hot luck.
There you go. Right on. Thanks for the call, Packer, and enjoy that pool. That is fantastic. Candace, who else have we got on the horn?
We have Steve from Litchfield.
Steve, what's up, brother?
Well, I just wanted to call in and tell you about this impulse buy my wife and I made. Back in 2014, she was the medical point of contact for her mother, who was in a nursing home. And the nursing home had to send her to the hospital. Well, hospitals will not transport people back to nursing homes. So my wife and I went to pick her up and went to take her back to the nursing home. Well, we had a Ford Explorer at the time, and she could not get back in that vehicle. She tried for over half an hour to get into that vehicle and could not. I couldn't lift her up. We just simply could not get her in the vehicle. So the hospital, rather than try to transport her back to the nursing home in Litchfield, they decided they were going to send her to the hospital in St. Cloud. We got transportation for her up to the hospital in St. Cloud, and we went up there to make sure that she was taken care of. She got settled in her room in the hospital. And on the way up there, we stopped at the Ford dealership in St. Cloud and bought a new vehicle for her. We bought her a 2011 Dodge Grand Caravan. It had about 90,000 miles on it when we bought it. Still driving it to this day, and it has almost 200,000 miles on it.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Strong.
That's how you do that.
Yeah, damn straight. Teach them something. What's up, Steve? Thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate it. I had an impulse buy. Leaving, where was I? I was in, only went there twice, Australia, 2008, getting ready to leave to go to the airport, and I'd been gone for a few weeks, and I thought, I should get something for Rosemary, because it was just one of those, wake up, really hungover, going to go to the airport, going to have a long travel day, and then I was like, I'm a bad husband, I didn't even get her anything down here, because I'm looking at a bag of crap I bought for the kids, and I'm like, and I walk out of the hotel, and there's a jewelry store right across the street, and I just run in there, and I'm literally like stinking hungover. And I'm like, well, she likes opal. And I'm like, hey, let's see these opal earrings. And they're really nice. And they're way more expensive than I thought they should be, And I'm like, oh, crap. But you know what? Yeah, I got to do it. That's fine. That's fine, whatever. And I bought them, and I put them in my pocket, and I go back, and I pack, and I get to the airport, and I've never seen them since. Lost them.
What?
Right there. You paid for them, lost them.
A little hole in the pants?
Just got back. Maybe I changed my clothes, but I assumed when I was unpacking, getting everything out, that, they'll be in this suitcase somewhere. Gone. Never saw them again. To this day, she doesn't think I purchased them. You made
I'm
that
starting
up.
to question you.
She's like, you don't lose that. You never lose things. And I'm like, no, I lost my keys once. I lost my wallet once. And now I lost your damned earrings. And that same year, I lost a laptop charger. And that's it. I don't lose things, especially when I travel. But I was more wound up about the laptop charger, honestly. But, the truth is, seriously, she's like, I think, she looked at me dead now. I think you're making this up. I was like, I'm not.
I got you a pretty shiny present. Yeah,
I'm like,
sure
fine. Well, when the Amex bill comes in, I'm going to show it to you.
Yeah.
and then I'll just look like an idiot.
Yeah, right. Instead of a liar.
Ridiculous.
How about this on the KQ Facebook post? We're talking about impulse buys. Where's it? Samuel. A bunch of cool pews. Church pews.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have those. Well, you know what? You know where those will go great? Right down there in the basement. I mean, church pews. Imagine rolling home, honey. Guess what I bought? Those comfortable. He said cool pews. Are there cool? They all look the same, right? I mean, it's a wood bench, but good for you, man.
I like it. A good church pew. I'm trying to think if I've ever had a house or anywhere where one would fit. The answer is probably no, but if it did, that would be kind of cool.
Maybe in the mud room, put your boots on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You got a text over there, Tony?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking there's a couple impulse buys I have that I could remember. One is a younger lad went on a quick little long weekend to Chicago with some college buddies. And for some reason, I felt the need to buy, it was a voice-altering space helmet for $40 at the time.
Sure.
Man, I got some great use out of that.
Yeah, you did.
But that had to be done. A lot of head shaking, but boy, that was fun. And the last one, in the pandemic, we got a hot tub.
Oh, yeah.
Totally on
there
impulse.
You go.
Yeah.
Now, are you still, because I know a lot of people that have hot tubs, they throw a cover on it one day and... Yeah, kind of, maybe.
Not getting the love anymore?
Well, when we use it, it's fantastic, but not using it as much as we thought we would. But that was total impulse buy.
The pandemic whatever gets you through the night was the national motto for about 2.5 years there. Whatever it takes.
The text that caught my eye. My ex-husband purchased the Flowbee hair cutter. Do you guys remember the Flowbee?
Oh, yeah, It sucks your hair up. So it's like a big tube that you stick on your head.
To a vacuum.
And a vacuum, and then there's like a razor in there and then it sucks the hair on. Have hair everywhere, and you get this super awesome looking bowl cut or something like that. I always wondered if those worked. They didn't probably elaborate because it was a text, but how many Flowbees are just laying in a box at garage sales?
Wow. We had a caller earlier who said she impulse bought a vacuum cleaner for like $1,600.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much an impulse buy, but we bought a vacuum cleaner in the early 90s. It was called a Rainbow, and it's got it's like a water vac for the house. Shop vac, same concept.
Oh, okay.
You have a thing you put water in and suck it up. And a friend became like a Rainbow seller. We knew someone who had one and started selling them. And she gave us the demonstration, and it really, truly was incredible. Especially if you have pets. The whole thing was, look, you guys got a dog and 2 cats, and there's hair that you don't see. And you could literally... You were astonished at how filthy your house was. It was like really exciting, but then also kind of gross. But every time we used it, and then it was like, I want to say it was like $1,200 for this thing. But we had it for almost 20 years. And most importantly, I told that story of when we moved into a new house and bees fell through the ceiling, and the bee guy came and had to kill them, and there was 10,000 wasps in my bathroom. Right. That he goes, you have a shop vac? And I was like, I got a Rainbow. And he goes, that's perfect. And that vacuum cleaner paid for itself when we vacuumed 10,000 wasps out that were laying there that couldn't fly anymore out of the bathroom. So I never regretted it again.
I bet that felt satisfying, too, just sucking up wasps.
Right. Oh, it was great. But, on a regular daily basis, just the amount of pet hair that you could get out of your, you take your regular vacuum and go over it, and you're like, yeah, looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then you'd go over it with this thing, and it would be like, oh, God, we're just pigs. This place is a sty.
Yeah, right.
We're kidding ourselves.
What a great noise that would have made when the wasps got sucked in, though.
It was.
You can almost feel it, too, right?
Fantastic. Just fantastic. Candace, do we have another caller?
Chuck from Andover.
Chuck, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are we doing this morning?
We're awesome, brother. What have you got for us?
Okay, I was New Year's Eve back, I don't know, around 09, 010 anyway.
All right.
Wife's out shopping with her sister. I'm home getting ready for a party at Mom's. We're drinking. A couple buddies swing by.
Yeah.
I'm online.
Attaboy.
And I decide the wife needs a new car. We're sick and tired of the 4-door thing. I find this Monte Carlo SS in Arizona. By the end of it, I had purchased myself a Monte Carlo in Arizona.
That's not Richfield. That's Arizona. It's a lot farther away.
Yeah. That's a nice road trip. It's an SS anyway. You got the SS deal.
Well, at least I got the SS. That was the good news.
Hell yeah.
Man.
My buddy gives me a ride to Mom's because, we've been drinking too much. And wife shows up, and all of a sudden later in the day, she checks her email and goes, what's his contract for a car? A car?
What?
Car?
Hello? A car? What car?
In Arizona.
So I said, honey, guess we're going to Arizona to pick up a car I bought you. Oh, yeah.
I hope was it in the winter? It was a warm weather vacation, too, man. 2 for the price of one. There you go.
It was in January, yeah. And then when we were down there, we got to go to Bear Jackson.
Yeah, see?
It worked out.
Oh, heck yeah.
She's still around.
Hey, where's that car right now? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
We drove it for about 4 years, and she said, it's like a 4-door again.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Hey, thank you for the call. We appreciate you listening, brother.
Hey, you guys have a great day.
Yeah, I too have a car impulse purchase in my life, and it was the first car I ever bought. And this is end of 91, first time I've ever had money in my life, and I didn't understand. So I up to that point, if you gave me $100, I spend it because I was already $90 in debt whenever you handed me $100. And so at the end of our first tour, I got home and suddenly I had, this sounds like, it's kind of nuts, but like in 1989, I think I made $5,600 that year. Literally live like a king, by the way.
Yeah.
2 years later, I've been on the road for 2 years. I get back to Atlanta after our first tour ends, and I had like $100,000, like just straight up in the bank.
Yeah.
And now I didn't understand that. Okay, yes, this just came in a giant chunk, and you're going to have to live on this for a while. And so I was like, but I was just like, that's more money than I've ever seen or imagined in my life. And I needed a car. And I had just been on tour in Europe, and I kept seeing these things called Range Rovers. And I was like, those look pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys in the band had bought a Jeep Cherokee. This was right as the SUV thing it was like a new thing. Jeep Cherokee was kind of the cool one. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, well, I can't get a Jeep because he's got one. And then I was like, wait, what's that English car? It's a Range Rover. I didn't know anything about them other than I thought they looked cool. I go up to the Jaguar dealer, and they've got some Range Rovers. And I have no idea I've never looked at a car in my life. So if he had said $700, I would have been like, that's a pretty good deal. And what he said was, I've got only one left. It's the Country Club Edition, every bell and whistle. And he goes, it's $51,000. Yeah. And this is how my brain operated. I was like, well, I got like almost 100, so I can totally afford that. Like no foresight into the fact that I'm going to have to live on this money for a while. Because, money and record sales, it takes a long time to come around. And I was sitting there, and every part of my gut, everything said, this is ridiculous. You've never spent $1,000 on anything. You can't spend $51,000 on a car. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm in a band's big. This is what rock stars do, I guess. But then I'm like, but I'm not a rock star. I'm just the drummer in a band. Nobody knows who I am. I'd shaved my head, so I don't even have long hair. I got nothing. And I'm like, I stand there and have a complete 9-minute breakdown of why I should and shouldn't buy this car.
You got the devil and angel on each shoulder.
100, literally on each shoulder. And then I'm finally like, I call the band's accountant. I'm like, hey, can I get this car? Like I'm 26. I might as well have been 6. And he goes, well, can you get it? Like, yes. Do you have enough money to pay? Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. And I said, well, what do you think I should do? And this is a guy I barely know. He's not our manager. He's just the money guy. He goes, a Ford Taurus is a really solid car. And I went, that's it. I hung up the phone. I go, I'm taking it. I literally, boom. And it was an awesome car, right? For about a week. And then I was driving around town, and I'd run into old buddies and friends who were still like in local bands, and they'd all be like, oh, nice car, man. And just the envy or the whatever. And then I took that on, and I kept the car for like about a year and just felt like the biggest douchebag alive. I could not allow myself to enjoy it. And the other guys are like, I'm driving a BMW. I got brand new amps and guitars, and check that. They're all having a great time, feeling cool rock stars, and I just felt like a douchebag. It's like, God, the last car I'd ever had was a car someone gave me. It was an old beat up Dodge Dart. You had to put it in neutral for it to turn on. And then I buy a Range Rover. It was way, way wrong. Big mistake.
I bet you flipped it for big money, too. Got your money back on that?
I got that car I had an accident that was not my fault. Really just smashed in the front. It was a crazy story. And then a guy ran a red light in a driving thunderstorm. And so then they came up with a new Range Rover that was even longer wheelbase. So the back seat was a little more roomy. So I upgraded, and then that was a complete lemon. That car was a nightmare. And then I got rid of that one. And then I was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to go buy like a normal car now.
Ford Taurus, perhaps?
Pretty much went with this sedan. Candace, do we have another caller?
Yeah, Brent from Northfield.
Brent, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you got for us?
Apparently, on the subject of impulse buying cars, this was back in about 1975.
Okay.
I didn't have my license yet, but I was being. This was on a Saturday, and I was being confirmed the following day. And my parents went to town to get a jar of olives because my godparents were going to be at our place.
Okay.
And they came home with a new car.
Olives for a car. Sounds like an after-school special.
And it was a 1976 Ford LTD. And I ended up taking my driving test in that and was like trying to parallel a house.
Yeah, sure it was. Well, but you got to feel good going to your confirmation in an LTD, though. At least they upgraded you for that
This is
special
true.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, honestly, it must run in the family because about a year ago, I ran across a Porsche Boxster on Marketplace.
Very practical.
That just needed a timing chain. It's like, I fixed cars before. That doesn't sound bad. So that's still sitting in my yard. And it turns out you had to be a rocket scientist to work on a Porsche. So,
oof, and preferably a German rocket scientist. So
right.
There's that.
Yeah. Instead of one timing chain, they have 5. It's like, okay, this is just.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Stupid at this point.
Brent, listen, I don't think it's ever too late to offer congratulations on that confirmation, and glad good story out of it too. So, cheers, brother.
Speaking of confirmation, it's Fat Thursday. I'm sure you guys know it's a big day of feast before Lent rolls us right up to Easter, I guess.
What?
I think I remember Mom chattering about that one time. By the way, we want to keep this impulse buy conversation going, but there's a reason I brought that up. Because Cheryl has a great one here that I do want to mention. So if you have an impulse buy, the talk and text line is 651-989-ROCK. We have something up on the KQ Facebook page. And before we call it quits this morning, perhaps in this next segment, we have some fantastic arrest audio. Who doesn't love good arrest audio? And it ties in with Fat Thursday, Lent, Brent getting confirmed, the whole kit and caboodle here before 8 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zepp, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Steve Gorman, this is the KQ Morning Show, Thursday, February the 8th at about 8:20, 8:25, 8:30ish. Right in that zone, we're going to be giving away tickets. The Beach Boys are playing at the Ledge Wednesday, July 10th. We've also got tickets for a runner-up prize, USA-Canada Women's Hockey. That's this Saturday at the XL Energy Center. That is in 20 minutes or so. Right now, we've been discussing impulse purchases. We just heard Led Zeppelin's Black Dog. I, like everybody else in America, took full advantage of the impulse buy that would happen when you'd be reading a magazine and you'd turn the page and there would be an ad for the Columbia House Record and Tape Club.
Oh, they got me.
1 penny for 11 albums. Boy, I took advantage of that. And one of the albums I got was Led Zeppelin 4. I knew all the songs, but I didn't have it on vinyl myself. And then, of course, I would get those records, and then I'd get a letter a little while later saying you haven't purchased another record, you owe us money, and this will look bad on your credit report. And then I would think about it and go, oh, this is going to be terrible. They're going to be after me. And then I would talk to someone, and they'd go, they're not going to find you. You're a college kid. It's a Columbia Record House. Just get over it.
I think it was Columbia Record House, but mine was a little different, and Mom got pissed at me because I got like the 20 for cassettes at that time for a penny.
Yeah.
But then they would send you a cassette every month.
Could have been.
To purchase, and if you didn't want it, you had to mail it back.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Mom wasn't digging on that.
Yeah, that's just an amazing. I don't know how they made money doing that. I guess enough people actually followed through and were adults about it. But everybody I knew was just like, get those things and, move.
Yeah.
They could never track you down. Impulse purchases, we've all had a few. We've got a whole lot of folks are sharing stories with us. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. Candace, who is on the horn?
Trish from Stillwater.
Trish, good morning.
Good morning, you guys.
What do you got for us, Trish?
A bunch of us girls from the OR that work together were at the state fair smuggling some vodka to pour in the great lemonade and drinking beer.
Yeah.
And all of us are horse people, so we went to the horse barn. Ran into friends from my hometown that are Clydesdale breeders.
Wow. Uh-oh. I like where this is going.
And so we're in the stalls petting them all, and they go, hey, this gelding, is for sale. And my friend Lael goes, oh, yeah, how much? And she pulled out her checkbook. I had to help steady her hand, but she bought that Clydesdale.
Wow.
Yeah, good friend. Didn't try to talk her out of it.
No, hell no. I told her he was an amazing buy.
Yeah.
I held her checkbook.
What's a Clydesdale gelding go for these days?
Well, these people actually had a couple of them that went to Budweiser. So they were very high-end breeders.
Holy
smokes. Oh boy, I think Max is probably 15 now. He went for $4,500 without training.
Yeah, 4,500 with a held her hand steady. You know what? They have that new DoorDash. I don't know if you heard about it. Super Bowl ad where they're giving away everything advertised in the Super Bowl. Your friend might be able to win a Clydesdale saddle from Budweiser.
Yeah, get on it. I like that. 1 minute you're smuggling vodka into the state fair, and the next minute you're buying a horse the size of a freaking RV.
God, those are magnificent.
Just really any horse, but a freaking Clydesdale.
Good God almighty.
Before we jump back on the KQ request line, here's Cheryl on the KQ Facebook post. Hubby and I were enjoying a few, maybe more, beverages, and then decided that we needed a dunk tank in our backyard for an upcoming party.
Yes,
of course.
For an upcoming party. The party's over, and now you have a dunk. I don't imagine there's a big resale market for dunk tanks, is there?
I wouldn't imagine that's the case. No,
dunk tank.
There's always a raffle that you could find that needs a dunk tank. There's always like your kid's elementary school Oktoberfest. It's going to be a spooktacular time, and then they could use a dunk tank. But holy smokes, Tony, we've got some text messages.
Yeah, this is cute. Heather from Stillwater was on a class trip to Ireland. And they went to a store that sold expensive woolen goods. And they were greeted at the door with Irish coffees. They followed them around. And before you know it, she said, I bought a ghost story-looking floor-length wool and velvet cape.
Yes.
Cost about $350, weighed 1 million pounds, 24 years later, still hanging in my closet, waiting for an occasion that warrants wearing a floor-length cape.
That is outstanding.
I love that.
That reminds me, Rosemary and I mentioned we got married down on St. John in the Virgin Islands, and we took a few trips there in the 90s, and we stayed at a villa. This guy rented us, and he made these ceramic giraffes that were like 7 feet tall, huge. Right. And they would just be like, you'd see them in a store. They were just places. It was the thing. He made this. He's just an artisanal giraffes. I don't know. He just made these. And there was one that was like, it was taller than me. So it was at least 6.5 feet tall. And one night on the island, way too many drinks with rum. I'm like, we're going to take a giraffe back home. We need that. And we need that in the condo. And I was convinced but we love each other and we're here and we need a giraffe. And I mean, the next day I woke up thinking like, I still think that's a good idea. And by the time I'd had a couple cups of coffee and a stern talking to, we're not getting one of those effing giraffes.
We need a giraffe.
But we're in love. Candace, do we have another caller?
Yeah, Darren from Medford.
Darren, good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, what do you got, brother?
Hey, this is more of a public service announcement, not to drink and shop online auctions at the last second.
Yeah, sure.
You could end up with I ended up with a ready mix plant for concrete one time.
A plant?
Yeah, to make concrete.
Yeah, the whole plant?
Yeah, I bought the whole plant.
What a plant.
Is it a money maker for you, or
I never got it set up. My wife wasn't too happy, and we sold it.
Yeah. It sounds like something, Yeah,
you don't want to be drinking and doing that stuff.
Yeah, Darren, listen, we just met, and I'm not happy about this. I can't imagine what your wife thought.
Good tip, though.
Holy smokes.
I ended up with a bar stool once with 4 tires and an engine and all that.
Man, there should be like, laptop computers should come with a breathalyzer.
Oh, yeah. Put them on our phones while you're at it.
Yeah, it's on the cell phone.
In fact, there should be some Wi-Fi should be able to, like the Wi-Fi itself should be able to get a read off your breath. Just breathe into the air and it'll come back. No internet access denied.
Potty, did you ever get one of those bar stool races?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Man,
it would help the marriages out a lot that way.
Darren, thank you for the call. That's fantastic.
That's nice.
If anybody else has purchased any businesses while drunk, we'd love to hear about it. That is outstanding. Holy smokes.
Fresh off the Minneapolis Boat Show, here's one for you, Steve. My wife and I went to the boat show. This was in 2003 with her friend. Bought a $25,000 ski boat without telling me his wife did. Hence the name of the boat, Impulse. Nice. Even made a flag for it.
I was at the Minneapolis Boat Show a couple weeks ago. I told you, Dan from Southside Marine, and he's showing me all the pontoons and the new things. And there was like a thing you scan with your phone that just gives you financing options. And trust me, I'm like, after my third or fourth complimentary cocktail, I'm like cha-ching, and I'm like looking at like, I could probably pull this off. Maybe next year, not this year. I mean, literally, I'm not drunk, but I'm just comfortable. And I'm contemplating, do I need to go ahead and pull the trigger on a boat? They look so awesome. But yeah, man, it's like, it doesn't take much to get me excited to make a purchase. I was in a car. It's funny, I was talking about buying a car after I'd seen them in England. On that same trip, first time really spending time over there, we had a couple of you're on tour, you have a tour bus, and we got to London for the end of the first tour, and so we were going to be there like 4 days, so we no longer needed the bus. It's not practical in that city. And so we would go to the venue every day in just a few cars. They would send 3 or 4 cars to pick up the band and all of our people. And there was one that was a Daimler. You know what that brand of car is? Daimler. It's like a
Chrysler Daimler.
Yeah, it's like a really nice upscale. Okay. And so when you've seen Daimlers, it's usually like if you see the Queen and the royal family are being escorted in really upscale ones, like they're like limousines for wealthy people like that. And this older guy who is English, and therefore I assume he's charming and truthful, is driving me. And one of the guys in the band, he's like, this used to be the Queen Mum's Daimler. And I'm like, but the Queen Mum? I'm like, wait, is that the Queen's mum? He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, it was her personal Daimler. Drove it for 17 years. And then I plucked it, and I'm a driver now. And he's telling me the whole story. And then we play the gig. We're going back to the hotel a few hours later, and by which time I am sauced. And I'm like, was this really the Queen Mum's Daimler? He goes, it sure was, mate. And he said, I'm thinking I'm going to part ways with it, though. And I'm like, I'll buy it from you. And I go, can I drive this legally in America? And he goes, yeah, people get London taxis and flip them over, just ship them over. And I'm like,
oh, do they?
And I get back to my hotel, and this is a 100% true story that I forgot all about until right now. And I called management in LA. I was like, can I drive an English car in America? It's on the wrong side. And literally the guy's like, Steve, just go to bed. Steve, it's late over there. Whatever you're thinking, just go to sleep. I'm like, but it's the Queen Mom's Daimler. The guy's going to talk to me about it again tomorrow. And Rosemary will confirm this because I called her. I'm like, I'm going to buy a Daimler. She's like, oh my God, go to bed. Yeah. What is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm excited. I'm in England, and the Queen Mum has well, maybe not. Maybe the guy's just the Artful Dodger himself, and maybe it was all just a line of hooey.
Who didn't have a business manager to save him would be Kevin Bass on the KQ Facebook page. Home to Bass Acres Teach, buddy of mine, just turned 50 this year, and I'm looking at a picture on our KQ Facebook page of the hot rod that he just bought. Think physical graffiti, the one with no hood, the exposed engine. Oh, yeah, and it's a convertible. Very practical here in Minnesota, Teach. I applaud your impulse buy. Number 66. I'm digging it.
Oh,
and happy birthday, by the way. I don't know when his birthday was. If it was this year, it had to be recent, just in the last month and a half, my man.
I like this one on the page. Sue said, my sister made a I've had too much to drink purchase of Crocs with her name on them and didn't remember until they came in the mail 2 months later. Yeah, but you imagine that. You get that box and it's on your front porch, and all you know is, I definitely ordered something that night, but you have no idea what's going to be in there.
You're like, and you put your name on them like someone's going to steal your Crocs.
That's pretty great. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I did see one. Someone, I told a story about the rainbow vacuum cleaner, and Jennifer said, yeah, my dad bought the rainbow vacuum cleaner, heavy as, it was a bulky piece of equipment to move around.
Rainbow, they'll stand the test of time.
But the pet hair. Yeah, when it
finally goes kerplunk, you can use it as your boat anchor for your new boat.
You know, it's funny because we had so the way the band operated, any band early days, you just if one guy gets something, everyone's like, well, I want one of those. I want one of those. And like, so what happened was 4 of us bought these. We all had dogs, and it's like, man, you should get one of these. Oh, it's awesome. And everyone just goes and buys. So like 4 of us had these vacuum cleaners, and we were in New York City doing something like going to do like an MTV Unplugged appearance or something, and we're all in a van, and my sister lived in New York at the time, and she was gonna come up, so we picked her up at her apartment. We're driving through Midtown New York, and it's like me and Rosemary and a couple of the guys and their wives and my sister, and we're talking about these new vacuum cleaners, and we're like, man, these things are amazing. Have you done the pet air? Have you done the thing where you stick it and you put it in your pillow, and your pillow shrinks down, but then you get all the mites and whatever might be in there, and then you can like vacuum pack things with it, and there's all these accessories, and it's like a miracle. You got the extended thing, you can get the cobwebs out of the top of the ceiling, and we're talking about how excited we are. And we pull up to like, you know, the studio, and there's a bunch of fans, and my sister looks at me and she goes, if those fans had any idea what you guys are in this van talking about right now.
Right.
She's like, you're supposed to be in here like there's no pot smoke, you don't have groupies, you're not. She's like 3 dudes and their wives talking about vacuum cleaners, and I'm like, yeah, rock and roll, man. What are you kidding?
Yeah,
Let's go.
No, that's not what's happening in there. Hey, listen, we're going to have to ice the lines here, the talk and text line, for a few minutes. We've got a game show coming up in a couple of minutes. We talked about this right before the break. It is, of course, Fat Thursday, not to be confused with Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday. Fat Thursday, the big feast before
that's right. That's right. I always forget about Fat Thursday.
Yeah, so do I. My mom's raised Catholic, though, so she's always posting that stuff on Facebook. I saw that this morning, Mom checking in. Fat Thursday, making a big meal for her and Pops out there on the farm. This arrest audio, Steve brought this to us this morning. Fantastic. For Fat Thursday, before we get to the game show, the audio is 911 audio, and it speaks for itself.
Hotpoint 911, what is your emergency?
Yes, this is Jesus Christ, and I just broke into the Pizza Hut. I broke the window in. I'm here. Jesus is here now. He's back to earth.
All right, and so you don't work there?
No, I just broke in, had a pizza. I'm Jesus.
And what was your name again?
My name is Jesus.
What's your last name, Jesus?
Christ.
Okay. And what do you look like?
I look like Jesus. What else do I supposed to look like?
Why'd you do that?
Because I'm Jesus. I can do whatever I want. We're tired of Judases on this earth. We're going to clean this earth up.
Man, where do you live at?
I'm from heaven.
How'd you get over to the Pizza Hut?
I'm from heaven, sir.
Okay. And did you break a front window?
Yeah, I broke the door window, sir.
And did you eat a pizza?
Yeah. Had a Mountain Dew.
That's the best. That's the best.
What is Jesus like on his pizza?
Yeah, we don't know what he had. It didn't say. And I do love the Pizza Hut alarm just firing off in the background.
There was water, but I turned it into Mountain Dew.
All right, now we can move along. We'll take... Yeah, I'm Jesus. 9 and 2 callers, please. 651-989-ROCK. This morning we're playing Alexa Theater for tickets to the Beach Boys. It's been that kind of winter. Why not? The Beach Boys, Wednesday. This is happening middle summer, July 10th at the Ledge. Presided by Mammoth Live. Tickets on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the Beach Boys. Our runner-up today gets those Rivalry Series USA versus Canada women's hockey tickets. That's this Saturday at the Excel. Prize provided by Excel. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. And hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, February the 8th. What a day. What a day. I like February the 8th.
What a day, let me tell you.
It's a solid day.
Yeah, it's Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, one more day to Friday.
Yeah, I was just reminded via Twitter that 10 years ago today was my final show at the Black Rose.
Oh, today was.
10 years gone.
Where was it at? Do you remember?
It was, yeah.
Of course you do.
It was the House of Blues in Boston, Massachusetts. It was a one-off benefit gig for the Boys and Girls Club of Boston.
Very nice.
I bet you know what you were wearing, too.
I do. There was it was a green, it was just a rental kit. We weren't on tour. The tour had ended in December, and then in January and February, we had a few of those private events. We had like 4 of them. And then left the show and walked out and went to the hotel. And next morning, went to the airport. And last time I ever spoke to my singer.
Wow.
Was at the airport.
Wow.
Because then the whole thing blew up, as bands do. Probably long after it should have, because the majority of that band's career was just wondering, when is this going to end? When is this going to finally blow up? And that's how it goes.
Very few breakups within the workplace or relationships happen right on time. You always look back and think, boy, that one went on a few years too long or whatever. But
that's why I've said forever, ever since they did it, the greatest band breakup by far was REM. They just decided to stop, and they issued a press release, and that's all. And for real. And they will never play. There ain't no reunion. They were so satisfied with what they did, and more importantly, how they did everything they did. Mm-hmm. That is the gold standard, boy. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the worst band breakup, I think, or just band stopping, never playing together again, does not go to Kiss, who started their farewell tour in 2000 and just recently wrapped it up. Sure. But no, that would go to Motley Crue, who decided they'd sign a blood oath to never play again. All 4 of them in blood. Tommy Lee told us they'd never play again, and it wasn't even 6 months. I think it was like 4 months. They're like, oh yeah, we're getting together with Def Leppard and Tesla.
Well, there was that Dirt movie on Netflix. It inspired a whole new generation of fans.
Yeah.
Something like that. Hey, the Beach Boys, now they've never broken up. They go away for long spells of time, but there's never been hey, we're done. And of course, Carl Wilson's no longer with us. Dennis Wilson's no longer with us. Brian Wilson doesn't perform with the Beach Boys anymore, I don't believe. But the Beach Boys still get up. They put on a hell of a show. They got a bunch of songs everybody loves, and they are playing The Ledge Wednesday, July 10th. Also, this Saturday at the XL Energy Center in a rivalry series, USA-Canada Women's Hockey. We've got tickets to both, and we would love to give those away to a couple of listeners. Tony, my man, Quizmaster General, what is today's feat of strength?
Well, for the big event that's going to be happening this weekend, I thought this apropos.
The KQ Morning Show presents
Alexa Theater. It's time for me.
We asked Alexa to perform to provide her best delivery of lines from movies, and we're going to take 2 contestants. Alexa reads the lines, you identify the movie the line is from, and the best score wins. We get 5 cuts. Now, the superest game of all is Sunday in fabulous Las Vegas. So, Alexa is performing her interpretations from National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation or The Hangover.
Wow.
That's our choices.
Holy smokes. That's pretty strong. All right. We've got our marching orders. Candace, who's caller number 1?
All right. First up, we have Jose from Burnsville.
Jose, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Are you ready to play Alexa Theater?
Yes, sir.
Well, get to it, my man. Tony, take it away.
All right. We're going to play a cut. You tell us, is it from National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation or is it from The Hangover? Here's your first cut.
Welcome, everyone. I am your dam guide. Please, no one wander off the dam tour, and please take all the dam pictures you want. Any dam questions?
I'm going to say National Lampoons on that one.
You said the right thing.
Bingo!
All right.
Strong start. I like it.
Number 2.
Why don't you give me half the money you were going to bet? Then we'll go out back. I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
I'm going to say Hangover on that.
Oops. That was from National Lampoon.
Dang.
Oh.
One of those. Yeah, could have gone either way.
Damn.
Cut number 3.
Would you please put some pants on? I feel weird having to ask you twice.
I'll say Hangover again.
Yes, good one. I think we've all heard that statement.
Came through.
All right, 2 more.
I haven't seen a beating like that since someone stuck a banana in my pants and turned a monkey loose.
I'm thinking National Lampoon.
You're thinking correctly.
National Lampoon written all over that line, right?
All right, here's your last cut.
You are literally too stupid to insult.
Definitely Hangover.
Definitely. Nice job.
Man, Jose with a strong 4 for 5. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, sit tight. We're going to be dealing with contestant number 2 now. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Dave from Stillwater.
Dave, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, great on this end, brother. Are you ready for some Alexa Theater?
I am going to try my best.
I like it. Tony?
Let's go, Davey. Is this from The Hangover or from National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation? Cut number 1.
I tend to think of myself as a one-man wolf pack.
Hangover.
Yes.
Oh, indeed.
Wolfpack, of course. Cut 2.
Don't think unnatural thoughts about your cousin, Russ.
National Lampoon for sure.
That's right, Rusty. Number 3.
It's not illegal. It's frowned upon. Like masturbating on an airplane.
Got to be National Lampoon.
I'm sorry that is from The Hangover.
Really?
It's not illegal.
It's frowned upon.
Yeah. All right, 2 more.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for herpes. That comes back with you.
National Lampoon.
I'm sorry, that's also from The Hangover.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
Here's your last cut, sir.
Holy crap, Wayne Newton is hitting on mom.
That's got to be National Lampoon.
Yes, it is.
Oh, he got back on that horse. Dave, you went 3 for 5, which is a solid effort, my man. But unfortunately, Jose came to play. So, Dave, you're going to get the runner-up prize. USA Canada women's hockey this Sunday at the XL Energy Center. Jose, you have won tickets to see the Beach Boys Wednesday, July 10th. Congratulations.
That is awesome. Thank you very much.
That is awesome. Great job, gentlemen. That's always fun.
Good, yeah.
Is this a good time for me to come clean that I've never seen Vegas Vacation?
I guess you just did come clean.
Yeah. Well, that was deep into the vacation series, right? You had, obviously Wally World and Christmas Vacation's a classic. They went to Europe.
The European Vacation.
Yeah, and then got around to Vegas. So, yeah, you're allowed.
It's okay.
So they were just printing money on those. Man, that first one was pretty special.
Yeah. Might be a nice one, with the Super Bowl being in Las Vegas. Maybe squeeze that in pre-game.
My son's 10th birthday in the year 2010. He said, we were talking about it a few months ahead, and he's like, "What do you want? What do you want for your birthday? Big number 10." And he said, "Let's go somewhere." And I said, "Okay." And he was like, "Nah, you and me. Let's just go."
Aww.
I said, "Where do you want to go?" He goes, "I don't know. Let me think about it." And then shortly after that conversation, I thought he was going to say, "Let's just go to like Six Flags in Georgia or something."
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, there's a band called the Truth and Salvage Company, really good band that made a few records 10, 15 years ago. The drummer, Smitty's brother is the head trainer for the Dallas Mavericks. Right? Follow this. So a drummer friend of mine's brother is a trainer for the Mavericks, and I'd gotten to know him a little bit, and he was also the trainer for the men's national basketball team. And I was just catching up with him. He goes, "I'm going to Vegas next month for the national team tryouts for the World Championships." And it was basically every great NBA player other than LeBron and Kobe was going to be there. And I said, "Where do you have the tryouts?" He goes, "It's like a week of practice at UNLV, closed to the public." I go, "Could I get in?" He goes, "Yeah." So my son's 10th birthday trip, we flew to Las Vegas and sat in like a gym and watched Kevin Durant and all these NBA All-Stars playing their guts out to try to make the national team.
Oh, what a good daddy.
And it was great. And he's 10, basketball obsessed. He's so excited, right? We do that for about an hour. And he's like, "Okay, so can we go get an In-N-Out burger?" I'm like, "We just got here." He's like, "Yeah, but we can come back later." And I'm like, "Yeah, we can, but okay." I just, for a minute, I forgot I was dealing with a 10-year-old.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
on to the next thing.
Yeah, like we walk out of the gym as these guys are playing full court. And like it's Mike Krzyzewski's the coach, Jim Boeheim's the lead assistant. Like, it's just nuts. Wow. And again, these guys are all these guys haven't auditioned in years, and they are playing as if it's game 7, and it's so intense. And we're like in the second row, right off the court watching. And then we so he wants wants to get an In-N-Out burger because he knows that's kind of cool out there. And then he's like, hey, I saw a billboard for some go-karts. And I'm like, okay, it's his birthday trip. And we're at a go-kart track for a while. And then we were on top of some building with a roller coaster up there. We had an awesome trip. But the 2 full days we were in town, we took in about 2 hours of basketball. And I thought we went out there. I was like, man, this kid's never going to want to leave that gym. But, again, he was like, yeah, This is cool. Get it. Like an hour in. Okay, I see what's happening here. But what I haven't seen is how many go-karts we can race. This is great. Turned out to be an awesome trip.
Oh, fun.
Fantastic.
2 years later, when his little sister turned 10, she asked if we could take a trip, and I said, of course. And we went to Disneyland.
Yes, she nailed it. I mean, they both kind of did in their own way, but that's an immediate slam dunk.
Yeah, it was pretty great
right there. You can't go wrong with that.
Just when you're with the kids, man, you never get them alone. I mean, it's you and me and Rosemary, and it's always great. But taking a trip where it's just one parent and one kid, those are pretty cool.
Yeah, I tried to do that, and I did a couple of times, but inevitably it was the other one go. Well, why can't I go? Well, I mean, because so I think I've caved most of the time, and you know what? We're all going. Come on,
sure.
Let's get in there. Let's get in the big coach bus. I'm on the KQ Facebook page. We've been talking about impulse buys this morning and having a blast with it. Ed just posted a picture. It's a big ass coach bus. The ones you used to tour around in, the big Greyhound buses.
Sure.
Apparently, Ed bought himself a big old bus.
Well, listen, I get it because what you're thinking is I just got to get someone to drive it, and then I don't have to drive, and then I can go and I can pick up all my friends, and we can drive around and drink, and now this is going to make perfect sense.
Yeah.
The one thing that pretty much oh wow, I'm looking at that photo. That's an old school like trail. Yeah,
it's
that's
cool.
Badass. That is cool. Every like musician, any touring artist, at some point you're like, well, why don't we just get our own bus? We'll just buy it. Then we don't have to we don't have to lease from a bus company because those things are expensive as all get out.
I'm sure.
And then every business manager goes, hang on, let me just send you a file of every disaster story of a band who owned their own bus. Because it's like what doesn't come with the bus when you buy it is all those guys that work on it all the time when it's back home.
Did you guys ever bat around the idea of a jet?
No.
The Black Crowes jet?
No, that's arenas. We were a theater band, summer outdoor sheds, theaters. You got to be knocking out arenas for a while before that makes sense. Although it's cheaper now than it used to be, but still, that was never. There were occasions, sometimes there are situations where you got a gig and the only way to get there is to get a plane for the day. So we had chartered planes and private jets occasionally. Maybe once or twice a year for a while. But like as a regular way of travel, no. And boy, I wish that hadn't been the case because the private planes aren't great because they're comfortable. They're actually not. They're really small, but they're time machines.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You just you start to realize like, oh, wait a minute. Like the van just pulls right up to the plane and you get out and get on and it takes off immediately because that's how that is. That's like all that airport stuff is removed and that's really when – and then you're on a cramped, really small plane, but it goes really fast. And then you land and the cars – you walk off the plane and get right into a car and go. It's amazing. Yeah. That's definitely the should you win the Powerball, like what's the one thing you splurge on? I would never be in an airport again.
Nice.
Yeah, right, exactly. Lori Ann on the KQ Facebook post, I bought a frickin' Montel Williams blender during an Ambien stupor. I had no recollection of doing it until I saw an infomercial for it a few days later. Think I've used it maybe 5 times in 18 years. Montel Williams blender? I don't remember.
Wow. That is great.
Leanne went into a car dealer for a free gift. Oh, yeah, the free gift at the car dealer. Did you? Guess what? Bought a car. Weren't in the market for one, but drove one home. That's how that happens.
Man, I gotta Google Montel Williams infomercial for a blender.
Right.
What in the world?
What makes it
and
special?
An Ambien stupor, no less. Well, people have done worse than Ambien stupors. We've had those stories in the past. Paul Can't walk past an Army, Navy, military surplus store. Completely powerless. I get it too. And I saved some of my old gear, just mostly the BDUs, the uniforms and that sort of stuff. But yeah, every once in a while I'd be going, that big one downtown, I'd sneak in there and I'm like, I need a sleeping bag. I need these big Mickey Mouse boots for when it's 20 below.
Sure.
I've never once wore them. I don't know whatever happened to them. They just, stayed behind in one of the moves, I guess. Yeah, those, because everything in there's so damn cheap and it looks cool.
Well, of course it is. Tony, we got another text.
This is good. Got all liquored up and got a bunch of Hawaiian shirts. Luckily, we do have Hawaiian Shirt Friday at work.
Every Friday? Oh my God, can we do that?
We can do that.
Yes, we can.
You know what? You try it tomorrow and we'll see how it goes.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I just was reminded that this year I thought, what would be cool? I love to ski. Why not get a ski sweater? One of those old vintage ski sweaters. I think that would just be cool to ski in. I'd like to do that. I own 5 now because I bought them all online. One finally kind of worked, a Pabst Blue Ribbon ski sweater that I've used once, and then I felt like a dork because I'm sitting there in the chalet and you're trying to be cool with the vintage. But anyway, yeah, I got one that was the size of a bear rug, wool, handmade in Canada. And I mean, the wool yarn is like the size of, an old farmer's middle finger. It's just like huge.
Sure. Yeah.
I put it on like, my kid never wear this. It weighs 28 pounds. Then I've got a couple other really dumb ones. They just kept coming in the mail. I kept going, no, that's not the right one. But we'll stick with the PBR. So yeah, a lot of crappy sweaters I've got to get rid of now. Goodwill.
Yeah, that's what it's there for. The more you travel, the more you end up with have you ever been on a long trip and realized you had to buy an extra bag to get all the crap you bought you didn't need home?
Yeah.
That's when you realize I've got to when I'm drinking, the wallet stays at the hotel.
Yes.
It's that simple. I haven't spent a lot of time in Nebraska. I've just played gigs there. I've driven through Nebraska, stop, play a show, and leave. But I can't say I know much at all about the what is that? The Husker State?
Yeah,
Husker
not
State?
much too. No, once you break free of the northeast corner, you're out there, man.
Yeah, it's out there. But they do have for the last 5 years the greatest tourism slogan ever. And their new governor decided it's enough, and he doesn't like it, and he doesn't. And their new governor is a ninny, would be the word. For 5 years, Nebraska's official tourism slogan is Nebraska. Honestly, it's not for everyone. That is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. And now the new governor, Jim Pillen, has decided it's nonsense, and he says we need a new slogan. Before they went with it's honestly not for everyone, it was Nebraska, where the West begins.
Okay.
Stop.
Yeah, it might begin there, but you want to get way past that and get to the fun part of the West. Here's that campaign.
Nebraska. Honestly, it's not for everyone. That part of a new ad campaign released on Wednesday by the Nebraska Tourism Commission aimed at getting people to the Good Life State by poking a little fun at it. Some of the things in the campaign include explaining why Nebraskans float down rivers on livestock tanks. With the phrase, lucky for you, there's nothing to do here.
Yeah, it's strong. Self-awareness is key.
And it worked, too, didn't it?
They had one ad where it goes, Nebraska, we're kind of like that weird kid from your school, had weird hobbies, but then it turns out to be a fascinating adult. I mean, it was really we're like that odd kid. That is good stuff right there.
It is.
And now that the new governor is I don't think that's just nonsense. I'm like, dude, if I had been made aware of this slogan, I might have found myself in Nebraska, but now, no, sir.
Yeah, no
fun.
Oklahoma, sure. South Dakota, happy. Kansas, why not? Nebraska, no.
Driving around it. I took a shortcut down to Colorado one time, and I was just driving through the middle of Nebraska. I like to do that every once in a while. And right out there, right in the middle of Nebraska, just desert land, a little town called Heartbreak, Nebraska. And I thought to myself, so you stopped the covered wagons here and went, well, this is miserable. We're just going to call it Heartbreak. Just keep going.
Exactly.
Just go. Colorado's right down there. It's beautiful.
First tour I was ever on, we played Minneapolis for the first time, and the next gig was in Denver, and we got in the van and did that drive. And I very clearly remember at one point, many hours into the drive, I'm driving the van, and I went, how long can Nebraska possibly be? I grew up east of the Mississippi. I wasn't used to states that were that big. And we entered Nebraska and stayed there for what felt like 4 days. It was I couldn't believe it. And because, to your point, Zepp, nothing happens. There's just nothing there.
It's not. I mean, I'm sorry, man. I worked in Omaha radio there, Sweet 98 for a while, and Lincoln's a fine little tag on to the St. Paul to Omaha there, I guess. But yeah, once you get out there, there's nothing. So you get out to the Badlands on the west side of the state, but that's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's just a whole lot of nothing. Out there in Nebraska. Well, I'll tell you what, let's get along here. We are taking calls on impulse buys, text. We have a KQ Facebook post. We've been having a lot of fun with it this morning. You got an impulse buy you want to confess, get out of your system, exercise the demon. Give us a call here, 651-989-ROCK. And we're going to have to get to this wedding ring story now. You may or may not know that Steve, some months ago last year, after just having moved here to Minnesota, lost his wedding ring while out walking his beloved dog, Chauncey. I don't believe it's ever been found. But we do have audio of a man in Maine who found a lost wedding ring, then went on a journey to reunite this wedding ring with the owner. It's got a fantastic twist to it. That's coming up here in about 10 minutes. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zepp, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for February the 8th. Good morning. We've been talking about a lot of stuff today, but mostly honing in on impulse purchases, things we are either filled with regret over or occasionally feel pretty damn good about. Just got lucky because we've all bought things we probably shouldn't have, and every now and again it turns out. Every now and then it makes a little bit of sense. I mentioned I don't go to drum stores very often because I will. And I don't think of myself as a gear nut because I know guys that are obsessed with gear, and I don't walk around thinking about it. But if you put me in a drum store, suddenly I'm like, I don't have a snare drum that sounds exactly like that one. I don't have cymbals that sound exactly like those. And then I buy stuff, and then I, play it once, twice, and then it just sits there. And then I'm like, I can't wait to use that, but I don't have any reason for it. And then I end up saying, musicians are just constantly coming and going. I traded a ride cymbal for a pizza once. I mean, that's how it goes.
Here's a musician after your heart. Ted got drunk and ordered bagpipes about 6 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
With his first tax return. They cost about $167 off eBay. Tried to play them once or twice.
I thought in the mid-'90s I wanted to learn to play the bagpipes. I thought it won't come in handy for anything I'm ever going to do, but I just love bagpipes, and my Irish blood was a stirring. And then I found out that when you learn to play, you don't actually get pipes for a long time. You have the thing that your finger holds. It's like a recorder almost. Yeah. But then you have all this stuff you go through before they put that weird thing on you and you can blow out your neighbors. And I was like, well, I don't want to wait a year. I spent weeks thinking about it, and then I finally did the research and was gone like that. Like, if I can't just start blasting noise like a wounded bird right now, I don't want to know anything about it.
Well, Ted said that he was able to master the majestic sound of an elephant dying.
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm an absolute sucker for the pipes. If I see, there are a few circumstances in life where if I hear bagpipes in the distance, I don't immediately just start to kind of well up a little bit. Just stirs me like no one's business.
Sure.
Did buy, this is Girl Scout cookie season, was in Nashville over the holiday. Next door neighbor, she's now selling Girl Scout cookies. And I was like, yeah, okay. I said, that's great. Thanks. Let me see what I can do here. And I'm thinking to myself, let's get 1 box of Thin Mints, 1 box of Samoas. I mean, because we're not going to be here very long. And really, if I buy them, then we'll eat them. I got 16 boxes. I got 4 boxes of 4 different types. And I literally took that thing going, I'm going to get 1 Thin Mint and 1 Samoa. And then I did that and then got 8 times as many as my plan.
Oh, that's the classic impulse buy. Here's what works for me, though, because you don't want them sitting around forever, is you just make less meals. Like I'll maybe just have 1 big meal a day and then the rest is just Girl Scout cookies. They'll be gone in no time.
Of course. That's just how that works. Michelle on the Facebook page said the lot next door. It went up for sale, and we couldn't risk someone else buying it. I love that. I'm always on the lookout for a double wide lot. I want that house next door, always. Anywhere I've ever lived, I'm like staring at it going, well, that might just burn down one day. I've never done anything about it. I'm not suggesting that, but I always wanted to have the in-town extra wide yard.
Yeah. I mean, you got to mow it, you got to pay the taxes on it, but you got the space in town.
It's never happened, and to this day, my wife, you'll hear her say this word with a little sneer, kind of condescension, when she'll go, "Oh, the compound you want to have?" I'm like, yeah, it is a compound. I want a compound.
Right, it's going to have a bunker, too, a compound with a bunker. Henry, $500 frying pan. My wife didn't even know they were that expensive. You could make a $500 frying pan. Yeah, you can find them out there. He found one.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, who wants eggs?
651-989-ROCK is the KQ talk and text line. Feel free to communicate with us in your preferred method. We do have a caller right now, Candace. Who is that?
Yeah, Jim from Chaska.
Jim, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's happening?
So in the 80s, I had a few too many, and I was online on the infomercial, and I bought a Dick Buckus newspaper grill. And this is one of those ones where it's actually a good one. I use it every time I go to a tailgate. It is perfect. Right. No charcoal. You wad up the paper. Yep. You light the top ball. You put your grill on the top with your dogs or brats. Put your foil on it. Let it burn. When it's done, you put more paper in, you flip them over, you go again.
Really?
And it is excellent. People laugh at my... They look at this thing when I'm in the tailgate, and they're starting their charcoal. I said, I'm going to be done and eaten and in the game before your charcoal even gets warm enough to start cooking.
Trash talking.
And literally 15 minutes later, we're walking in, and they're still waiting for their charcoal to light up.
And this is... Who is it? It's a Butkus grill?
Dick Buckus from the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
He was a spokesman for it back in the 80s.
Doesn't taste inky?
No, because you put foil on the grill, and it's amazing how much heat just one ball of newspaper can emit, and that's how they touted it. And let me tell you, it works, because when you're done cooking, you do have to let it cool down before you put it in the car, because it is hot to touch. And, you were talking about Thin Mints. The problem with the Girl Scout Thin Mints, it's only a one-serving box, and it usually lasts about 6 minutes.
Yeah. Man. True. I love the fact that you trash talk people at the tailgate party. Dick Butkus would applaud that big time.
I'm looking at the Dick Butkus Quick Cook Grill, alternative food cooker from the 70s. There's one on eBay right now for $250.
Wow.
I just bought it. No.
I got a collector's item.
It says cooks 5 times faster than charcoal. You weren't kidding.
It's absolutely excellent. People laugh their ass off at me when they see this in a tailgate at a baseball game or football game. And I'm like, just watch. And then they come over and they look at it and they go, wow. And I go, yeah, your charcoal's still warming up, right? And they're like, yeah.
I love it.
That's great. Thanks for the call, man.
Have a good one.
$250 though. That's here I go with that little. So I'm like, I'd use that all the time. You know what? I just would use that instead of the stove. I'll just be setting up out here in the driveway, Maria. I want to make myself a couple of dogs. $250 though. I bet he got it for a song and a dance back in the day.
Guarantee you he did.
Yeah.
651-989-ROCK is the number. If you want to give us a ring, feel free. Why we'd probably be remiss if we didn't mention, in case you somehow missed it, deer ticks are already active in the metro area. Deer ticks are out. El Nino winter. Here's the back end bummer is that you already got to start checking out for ticks, looking out for those. This is kind of a big deal. I mean, usually you want to hold off till April or May before we start thinking this way. But no, 1 of every 3 deer ticks, they say, carries Lyme disease or some other tick-borne illness, and that ain't cool.
Yeah, they have that red line on them or whatever. I remember Googling it, but I get the call. Sydney has a deer tick on her. I'm like, it's not a deer tick. It's just a regular tick. Google it. She sent me a picture of the tick. I Google it, and I went, holy crap, she had a deer tick. Thankfully, no Lyme disease. I know a lot of friends that did, and it's your kids you want to be concerned about because those little stinkers are the ones that are going to go out in the woods and climb around this and do that, probably sooner than we'll get out in. But, yeah, it's an early season. Get the tick mitts. They're on Amazon. No, don't get a tick mitt.
I want a tick mitt, man.
You want a tick mitt?
Yeah, it looks like it would feel good. Bring it in the shower with
You got to
me.
have a little tick check. That sounds nice.
I got those little. I bought these little gloves that are like they're like loofah gloves for the shower. They're really nice. I've never experienced anything like that, but those would probably do the same job. Probably just
that
as
looks
good.
just like one.
There's an impulse buy.
I could get that. It was an impulse buy. I was like, I bet that would. And then I used them, and I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever bought. And
I have used
like
one
$1.
of them before. So the tick mix I have used for my goats. I've given my goats a little rub down with a tick mitt before.
Yeah, and then you find one, and they're like the size of a big cat eye marble. You're like, ugh. They're just full of goat blood. You ever have that happen? Here, Terry's friend bought $1,200 worth of dieting pills on a cruise ship. Good call.
Oops. Further proof that life just isn't fair. Men causing literally over 90% of all of societal's problems, and yet all the benefits coming their way. A new study says that Viagra actually can help to lower the risk of Alzheimer's.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're prescribed Viagra, similar medications, 20% less likely to develop the most common form of dementia. So not only are you getting your groove back, you're going to remember it longer.
Steve, that's not for him. That's for her.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
they don't. That's not really
spin on that, but yeah, I mean that's a big upside, right? I mean it's that I guess that blood flow thing, and it's good for the brain.
You just said someone bought a bunch of diet pills on a cruise. Did you hear about this? Princess Cruises. Now I'll just go ahead and say for the record, no one's ever come up with a cruise yet that made me want to get on one. I'm not a cruise person, I don't think, but this one I gotta say, there was a time in my life if I had been drunk, I absolutely would have bought a ticket. It's a Love Boat cruise. This August, you can be on a boat 7 days at sea with Doc, Bernie Capel, Gopher, Doc, played by Bernie, of course, Gopher, bartender Isaac, and Vicky Stubing. Now, Meryl Stubing, the captain, he's no longer with us. And Lauren Tews, who played cruise director Julie, will not be involved, although she's still alive. She, of course, left the Love Boat with a crippling, truly tragic cocaine addiction, which she has gotten the better of. But she doesn't make public appearances anymore because everywhere she goes, everyone's like, Julie! But listen to that. 5 members of the cast of the Love Boat will be on a cruise. The Love Boat-themed cruise. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Very cheesy. And I guess, if you're the kind of person that does a lot of cruises and you're just looking for something campy and a little spin to it, you're a child of the 70s, that sort of thing, the Love Boat, I could see it could be fun.
Anytime I see something on TV where a TV cast from the old days is reunited, it's a reunion or whatever, it's the hokiest, it's so cheesy, and you just think to yourself, this is so terrible. Let them have their lives. If I were walking down the street and I saw the Brady kids coming to me, I would that would be no different than seeing the Beatles walking my way as a kid. Like I'd be like, oh my God, that's Maureen McCormick, and there they are. It's all of them. And I feel like I could go up and just really start talking to them. We could have a real conversation. It'd be crazy. I saw a picture the other day. Tony, I sent you a picture. There's like an old black and white, and it's the Sweat Hogs from Welcome Back, Kotter in the Barney Miller lockup.
Right.
Barney Miller and Fish have arrested all the Sweat Hogs. They shot the shows right next to it. They just walked on set and did it like for a promotional thing. But I came across that picture online and I stared at it for like 10 minutes.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, Fish and Horseshack in the same realm.
Together,
I could not
finally.
believe it. Yeah.
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
That's what we were all looking for all those years.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a way to figure out how to say goodbye, if your relationship is over with Valentine's Day approaching, check this out. A Pizza Hut, of all places, wants to help you end the relationship. They have launched what they are calling Goodbye Pies. How about that?
Yeah, I'm in.
Offering the chance to quote, I can think of one man who might not be happy to hear that right now, Candace.
It's pizza.
They're saying you can ditch that awkward breakup convo and send a pizza instead.
Oh, yeah, that's a better way to do it. You're gonna avoid the combo by sending he or her a all right. Well,
yeah. You just say, it says, goodbye pies are going to be available. It's only in 3 cities right now that Pizza Hut says these towns are notorious for heartbreak. I don't even know what that means. New York, Chicago, Miami. Goodbye pie. But, someone's working extra hard there. That's all I can think. Looking at the Pizza Hut marketing team. Just imagine how tired they are from somebody going, no, new idea. Give me something else. And then finally someone sleep deprived, hadn't had a burger in a week and a half. They got coffee stains on their shirt. How about just pizzas that just break up with you? Sounds like a plan. Let's go.
Everybody, you got to find an angle. There's the San Diego Zoo that will name a cockroach or something after you, or everybody's got their little angle for it. But no better angle for Pizza Hut, I think, than probably no better promo for Pizza Hut than Pizza Hut Jesus from earlier this morning. Another trip down this one. I love it.
Hotpoint 911. What is your emergency?
Yes, this is Jesus Christ, and I just broke into the Pizza Hut. I broke the window in. I'm here. Jesus is here now. He's back to earth.
All right. And so you don't work there?
No, I just broke in, had a pizza. I'm Jesus.
And what was your name again?
My name is Jesus.
What's your last name, Jesus?
Christ.
Okay. And what do you look like?
I look like Jesus. What else do I supposed to look like?
Why'd you do that?
Because I'm Jesus. I can do whatever I want. We're tired of Judases on this earth. We're going to clean this earth up.
Well, where do you live at?
I'm from heaven.
How'd you get over to the Pizza Hut?
I'm from heaven, sir.
Okay. And did you break a front window?
Yeah, I broke the door window, sir.
And did you eat a pizza?
Yeah. Had a Mountain Dew.
Had a Mountain Dew.
Had to wash her down.
Yeah, cleaning up the world one pizza at a time, I guess. Pizza Jesus right there.
I was actually hoping for Mellow Yellow, but it was Mountain Dew. I took that anyway. I love when the one question that he stumped him on was, how'd you get there? He goes, I live in heaven. Really? Okay, how'd you get there? I live in heaven. He couldn't come up with that one. He was totally selling all the other answers to that.
Sure, it was believable up until then.
Down here to take care of all these Judases on earth.
Right. And it was sincere. I mean, he had conviction because he had plenty of time to get away, called it in on himself. Well, that's Jesus, right?
Well,
he would
sure.
do that. Yeah, that's the kind of thing Jesus would do. Talking about Valentine's Day, we got a guy in Maine. You want to hear a great Maine accent? This guy in Maine, Scott, out with his metal detector, and he gets this ring, cleans it up, and finds out that it's a wedding ring. We hear these stories from time to time, right? So he gets online. He's going to find the owner of this wedding ring, and by God, he gets a bite on it. It's a lady. She thinks it might be her ring.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to find the owner. So I dunked it in mineral oil, bought a magnifying glass. Well, I threw it on the buy swap, and this lady actually messaged me, and she's like, wait, I think that's my ring. I'm like, okay, give me the initials for the heck of it. 2 seconds later, she throws me the initials. I go, when do you want to meet up? I'll return it. So then she finally tells me, she's like, well, it's my ex-husband's, and he tossed it in the river, apparently. She was like, thank you for being a good Samaritan, trying to do the right thing. But honestly, it's the ex-husband. She hates him. She's like, you can either toss it, keep it, or sell it.
Wow, you can toss it, bop it, keep it, toss it, swing it, bop it. I like the idea that she knows for a fact, my ex-husband or fiance, he threw it in the river. Wow.
Yeah,
that's not a breakup you could fix with a pizza. Let me tell you right there.
No. Although I've been in those relationships where the ring went out the window, and then you get back together 2 minutes later. When the dust settles, and you're out there on your hands and knees, both of you in the front yard looking for a ring for about 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, man.
Been there, done that. Let's get along. Impulse buys this morning. Keep them coming. If you've got an impulse buy you'd love to share with us, we're having a lot of fun with them. You can put it up on the KQ Facebook page. I'd love to hear from you on the talk and text line, 651-989-ROCK. We also have a lot of obvious things that people didn't know coming. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ talk and text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Neil Young, Keep on Rockin' in the Free World, a song that Neil wrote in 1989. He was on tour up in the Pacific Northwest, and there were plans for there to be a cultural exchange at that time between the Soviet Union and the U.S. Neil Young and Crazy Horse were going to go over and play in Moscow, and then the Russian ballet was going to come over and tour around the States, and then all of a sudden, like, the guy that was promoting the deal, this Russian guy, took all the money and split, and the whole thing just fell apart. And so the guys in Crazy Horse were kind of bummed out. The guitarist Pancho Sampredo, the great Crazy Horse guitar player, said, well, when they got the news, well, I guess we'll just have to keep on rocking in the free world then. And everyone kind of had a laugh. And then Neil was like, I might use that. And the next day they got on the bus after, a night in a hotel, and Neil goes, hey, man, keep it on the rockin' world. I think I got it. I put that in a song. And he had just gone into his hotel and cranked it out, a song about the current state of the world.
Thank you to that Russian fraudster for a classic rocker. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Between him and Pancho with an off-the-cuff comment. So, Matt, you think, how many songs has Neil Young written like that? Quick inspiration. He wrote Ohio after the Kent State shooting. That was on radio stations within a week of that shooting. My man
Let's roll.
Yeah, my man gets an impulse and just goes to town and writes a song. Neil is 78 years old. Mm-hmm. So that means, and he's doing well right now. Let's just assume he's going to see the 80s. Let's say he makes it into the 80s. I don't know how many songs he will have written, but he will have blinked 513 million times. If you live to be 80, you will have blinked 500 million times.
I feel like no one's properly counted that. They're just doing one of those
the average per day
equations, kind of things. Blinked, so. Yeah, I don't. All right.
You will have, if you make it to 80, you will have sneezed 70,000 times. I know people who I guarantee the number's higher.
Yeah,
There's
right.
Just some sneezers in my life.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of that going on. Early allergy season coming with the ticks.
Yeah. 27 years of your life will have been spent sleeping. Wow, there it is.
Excuse you. Bless you. Not nearly enough.
No, gosh, not nearly enough at all. I could use a year of sleep right now. I'm in a bad sleep cycle, man. This last couple of weeks, I just hit a tear, and it's like compounding interest. The more I don't sleep, the more I don't sleep.
Yeah, the more you think about it.
I'm getting a little shaky sitting here right now. Let's see what else. If you make it to 80, you're going to walk about 113,000 miles. That's a lot of stuff going on in life. Yeah. This is the one I'm curious about. It says you will personally use 4,240 rolls of toilet paper.
Oh.
About 50 a year.
Well, for craft projects?
If you live alone, are you going through a roll of toilet paper per week?
Oh.
Yeah.
Probably.
Depends on how healthy your diet is,
It might be wasteful, but I just use the roll of toilet paper to wipe. Just one roll, wipe, pitch it. Yeah.
Probably
out
true.
the window it goes.
Let's see. This one. Oh, yeah. An average man will spend a full year staring at women. Yeah, it's called 1980 for me.
Yeah. Yeah, now we have to pretend that we're not staring at them. Now, Maria stares more than I do.
At women?
Yeah, she does. She's like, come on, really? You don't notice her boobs?
I don't know. By the way, do we know why do English people call cops bobbies? What's the origin of that? Do we know?
Wondered that too.
I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that before, but I can't remember exactly why. No, I do know. It's named after a guy, like a cop back in the day. His name was Robert, and they called him Bobby, and then it turned into everybody being called Bobbies.
That's Sir Robert Peel to you, sir.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Bobby Peel.
Interestingly enough, but there's another word that we use all the time, goodbye. Goodbye is a shorthand for God be with you. That's where that came from. That was the origin of goodbye. Go. That's like the drunk person saying God be with you. Goodbye.
Leaving church. Goodbye.
Yeah, right. Much like howdy came out of how do ye. Yeah. How do you do?
How do you
but
do?
how do ye? How do ye? Isn't that an old? That's an old the Peter and Gordon song. How do ye do what ye do to me? We should rewrite classic pop and rock hits in old English.
our next vacation.
Let's do it. Let's do that together. Here's another thing. I saw a thing about things that people weren't aware of or came around to. Like, I didn't know that. I can't believe it. Things like how the judicial bail system works. Listen to this. I always thought that was a fee that you paid to avoid jail. I didn't realize it was collateral, that if you actually turn up for your trial, you get it back. Yeah, the bail bonds.
Bail bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like when you give them the money and they spring you, it's not. They don't keep that money. It just goes.
Yeah.
They only keep it if you don't turn up for trial.
Right.
Hence the movie Midnight Run.
Right, exactly. I was going to say some of us learn it from popular culture, right? Movies, television shows. Some of us learn it by having an education in criminal justice, and others of us learn it practically. In real time.
Is that
real
first-hand
life.
Experience?
How's this work again? So I give you how much, and then I get out, and I get that back minus 10%. Let's do this. I really want to get out of here.
Yeah, well, at least, I would imagine that means you only have to learn it once to know what's going on. That's the kind of lesson that doesn't take
What else
over.
you got there, Steve?
Okay, let's see what else we got here. We talked about bats on the show yesterday, and I said, I referenced bats being blind, and the blind is a bad thing, but bats are not blind at all. No. They're not blind. They're not blind, and in fact, some bats see really, really well. In fact, they're human. They have eyesight as good as humans, if not better, and it does adapt to both night and daylight. Some bats have color vision. Some bats actually see color. So
there goes the blind as a bat.
That's what I'm saying. Blind
right?
as a bat is no longer applicable.
Ugh.
Man, you're going to say that somewhere in public, and some bat dude from the zoo will go, well, actually, as it turns out, bats aren't blind.
Someone's getting a noogie.
The show Mad Men. Great show, Mad Men. Mm-hmm. I read, someone goes, I didn't realize that the Mad stood for Madison Avenue. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's what it was. It's like ad men, but they're kind of living a crazy. It's a double entendre.
It's kind of both. Yeah.
Madison Avenue, but it's also mad as an ad men. They're advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go figure.
So you could not be in the advertising industry, have the personalized license plate Madmen, but live on Madison Ave. Never mind.
I think you could do it all. You could do it all. No one's going to bug you.
All right.
Right.
That's good stuff.
And as long as we're running down a couple of lists, check this out. If we want to make anybody uncomfortable, I mean, I get it, but psychologists who've been married for 35 years came up with a list of types of phrases that the most successful relationships include. Like, if you're wondering if your relationship is going in the right direction, or if it's headed for disaster, you can ask yourself, do these 6 types of statements exist on a regular basis?
Right. I feel like it's going well now, but after you lay this list on me, I'm going to be questioning it. Let's go.
How about this? Do things like this? I need to calm down. Or, listen, this is important. I need you to listen. Let's take a deep breath. Or simply, can I have a hug? Do you have those moments where you take a breath, let me think about this, but I just need some support now? Do you hear yourself ever saying that?
It makes me want to vomit.
Yeah. I feel like I've experienced a lot of that just on this show this morning.
Well, that means that means all this work is working.
Oh, good.
How about this? I feel statements. Things like, I'm getting scared, or that hurt my feelings, or I feel like you don't understand me right now.
I'm getting scared.
I feel like you don't understand me right now. Is that the same thing as saying, when are you going to get it through your thick peanut skull? Is that what that means?
Yes,
okay.
That's what that means.
How many times do I have to explain this? Is that the same thing? Okay.
Yeah.
How about this? Stop actions. Like, do you ever hear yourself saying things when you're talking? Hang on. Let's start this over. Let's just take a pause. We got off on the wrong foot. That's like stopping a golf swing mid-swing. It's damn near impossible.
So polite.
Yeah. No, you can't. And you know what? You're going to go back and start it over again, and it's going to be worse this time. You want a better outcome. You don't feel like the talk is going well, so you reset. No, it never goes better.
I remember I hearing myself say at one point in the middle of a little dust up, like, why am I rude to you? Because I got to be nice to everybody else. Who am I supposed to be rude to? And as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm like, this is not going to end well at all. Wow. I'm basically telling my wife, I'm nice to everyone on earth but you. What the hell am I trying to say? And why don't I just say, oops, my bad?
I mean, it's a truth in a relationship, but yeah, you can't admit it and say it out loud. Yeah. I know. We take it out on the ones we love, right?
We have gotten good. I mean, you know what really does it is it's just the sheer exhaustion at some point where you finally are like, I just don't want to. I can't care about. I don't. Whatever. Just can we just not? And then at some point you just realize, like, I used to die on some hills that I just could not have cared less about, but because I thought that we're on opposite sides of this issue, and therefore I must break you down, as opposed to just being like, oh, you see it that way? Okay.
My mom and dad are there. I see these older couples that have been, married for 30, 40 years, been together a long time, and every marriage relationship goes through a rocky patch, and there's that 7-year wall. And the whole thing, we're all familiar with it. Yeah. But if you weather that, if you can get through that and stand each other and figure it out, there is a sweet spot that you get to that is right on till the end kind of thing. And I've always thought, you know what? If you can just get through that, you get to a point where it's like all the BS is gone. You both have each other figured out. You both have life figured out to some degree, and there's a comfort there that's awfully appealing.
Yeah. It's definitely not easy getting there. But at some point too, it did occur to me, knee deep in one of these difficult conversations. Well, if I just stop trying to think I know where this conversation's going, like if I stop thinking about where I want it to end and instead just engage and be present, that usually works a lot better. Huh, go figure.
It's called listening. I know. Yeah. That old cliche where you never listen. And I'm a classic that. When we start a conversation, I already know where it's going to end, where I want it to end. Yeah. And it's going to go where I want it to go. And then, at some point in a relationship, when you actually sit back and do what they've been clamoring for men to do for centuries, and that is just listen, you go, oh, I see how you feel and why you feel that way. But
Shocking,
but true. Not listening, yeah.
Let's just look back.
Well, I appreciate a guy who knows his history.
Well, you've come to the right place. Steve, what's happening?
It's February the 8th. On this day in 1986, the NBA had their annual NBA Slam Dunk competition, and it was a great one. It came down to two members of the Atlanta Hawks in the finals. Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight reel, was out there just doing windmill after windmill, but he was defeated by his own teammate, the 5'7" Spud Webb, who could not palm a basketball. Spud Webb can barely palm a tennis ball. I mean, his hands were very small, but yet he was throwing himself alley-oops off the backboard, bouncing the ball up off the floor. He went up and did a 360. And the craziest thing about it, because, again, he's listed at 5'7", and just when you watch the footage, get on YouTube and watch this guy hit these dunks, it doesn't make sense. I mean, like, you have a natural sense of when an athlete jumps to go dunk the ball, how far away they are from the rim. Right. And he just has a lot farther to go. Like, when you just watch it, it's odd. Like, it's just not what you expect. Spud Webb was actually a little bit under 5'5" in bare feet. The man was crazy. Like 5'4"3/4. He listed himself at 5'7" because he thought that sounded better.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I remember, we've all seen the guys do the trampoline act at halftime at basketball games, right? That was Spud Webb. He would launch like that. Every time I see one of those trampoline acts, I think back to watching that, that NBA dunk contest. Yep. And he would actually palm it against his forearm. Yeah. You'd see him go up and the ball would be against his forearm and his hand would be, palming it with his forearm. Yeah. Quite an athlete.
I used to, in the late 80s, I got to a lot of Hawks games. I had a buddy who was a sports guy in Atlanta, and he would hook me up. And sometimes I'd have media passes and be down, NBA security, and those things were so much looser back then. But I'd be hanging around like during warm-ups near the court. And two things happened in the 87, 88 season that were so startling I couldn't get over them. And one of them was when Spud Webb walked past me. And I just looked at him and I was like, I know they say 5'7", but I was like, he's not 5'7". That's freaking me out. And on the other side of the same kind of thing, I stood next to Charles Barkley for 2 seconds once, and he was listed at 6'8", and Barkley's like 6'4".
Yeah.
He was barely taller than me. And I'm looking, and when I realized I'm looking him in the eye, and he's leading the league in rebounds and scoring 28 a night and just throwing down, running roughshod over the NBA at 6'4". Michael Jordan was 2 inches taller than Charles Barkley. And think about the way they both played the game.
Yeah.
I got like nauseous. It was like I was seasick all of a sudden. Like, that's not supposed to happen. You can't play like that and be my size. That's stupid. Or I'm a ne'er-do-well at best.
Right. He's just got that much game, that much guts and dogged determination.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.